where low shack at. The bottles getting nifty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon. We be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? Happy Thursday, February 8th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Was a frustrating evening last night. When the Rangers took care of business at -1 at +142, I'm up 5-3 in the Leafs game and have the Wild on the puck line. Wild team total over 3.5 next, and Leafs -1. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, shit. It's going to be a great start to the evening. Nylander misses the open net. Stars score an empty net, or goal with 6 men on the ice. 5-4 final. Push that. And then the Zuccarello empty net miss for the Wild was, so frustrating because there was still over 2 minutes left in the game. They score that to make it 3-1. The Blackhawks will pull their goalie again. But lose the Wild -1.5, lose the Wild team total over 3.5. So end up down 0.58 units in NHL. really hurt. And then I added LaSalle in college basketball, which cost me the night in college basketball. Michigan +6 was a no sweat casher. Longwood first half -3.5 was a mistake. Furman -3.5 was a loss. Providence money line cashed. Frustrating. So, still sitting here with a 14% ROI in college hoops, but man, -4.21% ROI in NHL makes me want to smash something. And then NBA, Spurs +8.5, Pelicans +6.5. It was just one of those nights. If I had just gone with my leans, it would have been a massive night. And then I think that, and I've got to dive into the numbers a little bit more, but just that I've been betting the Spurs a lot and doing well with them. But I think it's got to be first halves on the road. They seem to fall apart in the fourth quarter. They just don't have that closing mentality. So 1-1 in NBA and frustrating. Just not getting the bounces in NHL, and it's just keeping me up all night. So that was the night that was. We have a big show for you guys today. We got Mr. Gogster joining us. Mr. Gogster in action. Had a rough Tuesday. And let me, that was, I don't even think, when I go over your numbers, did I even, was it, oh God, it's just all a blur. I've got to go over his stats again. Maybe it wasn't that day. It was the game when, was that the final day before the break? I think I maybe didn't even add your Tuesday action. But Jose is not here, and Jose has a dental appointment, so I will be handling. He did get all of the games set up for us in NHL and NBA, and so that is good to go. And then college basketball, it's a bit of a free-for-all today. We didn't get the games into Jose in time for graphics, so that's the only thing there. But other than that, we're going to have a big show. College basketball, we have Mikey Money off another winning night last night, 6-4 here on the show. He is climbing. Mikey Money now has an 11.30% ROI in college basketball, 57-44 here on the show, and he's hammered the board. We have Daby Cab here off a 2-1 day in college basketball. So college basketball keeps rolling. And then in NBA, we have Billy Brisbane making his second appearance here of the season, of the young season. So shout out to everybody joining us. Dan Kelly in the house. Has got to wait until the NBA trade deadline passes 3 p.m. today before making any NBA bets. I didn't want to bet the Pacers. I really didn't want to. They haven't been playing that well. I was actually betting the 5.5 and it moved to 6 before I got it out. And then it moved to 6.5 this morning. I was like, okay, well, that feels pretty good. Pretty good to see that 6.5. Now it's back at 6. When I moved on them at 6, I didn't want to do it. 98% of the cash was on the Pacers. And I told myself, if we come close to tip-off and this is a 6, then I'm going to buy out of it, because this just feels like another one of those spots where the public just takes a bath, like Wisconsin yesterday, where 90% of the cash was on whiskey. So that's the only basketball bet I have in thus far, although there's stuff I like. But Dan's right, and usually we'd have Jose giving us the current, the news releases, and we don't have that here. So anybody in the chat who hears about the trades, let us know as soon as you can. Justin McKelvey in the house. Utah Utes plus 5.5 is the stacks play of the day. We have both Mikey Money and Daby Cab talking about that spot. So let's get that set up here. So Mikey Money and Daby Cab both talking about that spot, both on different angles in that one. Viper NB, Marketing over 24.5 points, Kaminga over 28 points, in Vegas -1. Viper, I came so close to betting the Coyotes. I've come so close to betting them. Maybe I'll just stay off. I find that those spots where you're humming and hawing for so long and then you finally make a decision, when you lose those ones, it seems to hurt so much more. Maybe I just stay off of that spot. But thank you for sharing your action with us. I'll pop that right under the spreadsheet plays of the day. We have spreadsheet plays of the day in NBA, NHL, and NCAA basketball. It is the Utah Utes as well here. Billy Friedrich in the house is my best college basketball bets. I've already moved on. Huge card. Wow. Okay, so we got Green Bay +3, Tarleton State +3, Central Arkansas +6.5, Arizona, Utah over 160, and UC San Diego to pick him. He's on the Avs at +112, Tampa Bay +124. Rally around that injury. Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do with that injury. I mean, he missed 17 games before that. I don't know. I haven't moved on. I did take the under, and we'll go over my action here. Jets -1 and Canucks +110. Wow, that sucks. I'm not alongside of you with any of that action. I am fading my Canucks tonight. I am backing teams other than the Devils. I'm backing teams that lost coming out of the break, or fading teams that look great coming out of the break. So we'll see how that bangs out. Sammy Comer, Timberwolves first quarter, and the Lakers +3.5. We saw two teams return home from long road trips with just one day off in between, which was their travel day. So the only difference between the Lakers coming back is they've had 2 days off, which is important, but they are also coming back. So we saw the Kings look horrible, and we saw the Clippers look horrible coming back from trips. But Sammy Comer moving on the Lakers. Let me set that up right in front of the NBA here and lock that in. It is locked, my friend. Joe T cashing that UCLA Stanford over. That was too easy. I watched that just soar over. Nice job. Absolutely great job. Kent Davies ready to get to work, and there are the spreadsheet plays of the day. I've copied and pasted them. We'll discuss them throughout. Kent Davies says best overnight bet he made is Vermont -11.5, now -14. Nice job there. Swiggy in the house. Slatty says wild and under was a sweat, but we got there. I mean, I don't know if the under was a sweat at all, man. Mrazek, I had a lot of money on that game. And it was like my night was on the line. Mrazek was simply spectacular. I mean, what? I mean, he was so good. That save off Kaprizov on the breakaway was unbelievable. And that was the biggest turning point in the entire game. I mean, the Wild were out shooting the Blackhawks 15-2. And I'm wondering if the floodgates are going to open, and they don't. They don't. We have Slatsy on Panthers team total +3.5, Panthers -1.5. I'm with you on the Panthers puck line, and Jets Flyers under 5.5 for Slatsy. I love to hear that, Slatsy. We got Gogster waiting in the wings, ready to pounce on this NHL card. So let's roll on here, copy and paste that. And there we go. Great to see all you guys. Smoking Tree cashing with the Warriors last night. That was very easy. Rocco Rogers in the house is back to rolling NHL with those Leafs and Rangers. I can't get over how good the top 3 forwards of the Leafs are, and I don't know what the hell to do with it. I have no faith in Treliving to put together a trade deadline to give this team some defense, But good God, is Matthews, Nylander, and Marner are just unbelievable. It's they're fun to watch, man. Smoking Tree on the Pacers -6.5. I can't believe that went to 6.5 and back to 6. Scares the shit out of me. He's also on the T-Wolves. I'm very interested in the T-Wolves as well. And Von Polo, happy birthday. Happy birthday, Von Polo. Says still drunk from last night, ready to keep it going today. Our guy, Von Polo, in the house. Wine Time Sports. One time, I forgot to reply to you yesterday. What a good-looking card you have, man. Got that cash. That was a great card. You're seeing the board very clearly, Wine Time, and being rewarded for it. Andrew G in the house says Mavs. Says Luka will play with a busted nose. Kyrie, no Randall or Brunson for the Knicks. A lot of moving parts in this NBA card with the trade deadline, with injuries. We'll go over all of that. And Billy Freeman says Buddy Hield to the Sixers is a huge get for that team. So we need all of these trade deadline. You know, when Gogster is breaking down a game in the NHL, I'll pull up the trade deadline news so we can discuss it all because it's crucial. Kent Davis says I backed Dallas. They tied up and go down 5-3 immediately. That was a pretty exciting few minutes of hockey. Dodonov, that was a snipe job. You know, he's 3 for 4 in his career in penalty shots. Well, you know, God, I mean, it was very, very difficult to watch that shootout. I mean, Leafs goalie is so deep in his net. I mean, what are you doing? I mean, you're so deep in your net, you're going to get busted up high for sure, and that's what happened. But then those 2 goals, I mean, those goals were spectacular. The Marner and Nylander back-to-back. I mean, that's just beautiful as hockey gets. That's Nate cashing the Zion double. Nice job. Rocker Ivan says my Rangers finally putting wins. I love it. I hope it's not just a post-break bump. You know, I don't know if it's going to be Johnny Cook as we move forward, but sure looks like it. Stimmy OG cashing with Michigan and Hornets and the over. Nice job, Stimmy. Beautiful work. Dan Kelly says Kelly Olynyk to the Raptors. Wow, I love that. We love that. You know, I think you know, there are very, very less than 1% of the league wants to play in Toronto. Well, let's find them and bring them here. Because if we're going to be mediocre, let's at least be mediocre with players who want to play here. I like it. All right. Nufflashan says, I said for years, week prior and week after on All-Star breaks to stay away. Broke my rule bet wild team total over. Yeah, that was Mrazek was just standing on his head. Ziggy Balls in the house. Great to see you. Ian Shaber, Subhuman Gaucho. We got Stacks. And Smoking Tree says Pacers -6.5 is the bag tonight. Yeah, I mean, I get it. You know, we talked all about it yesterday. But good God, is this the spot? It's gone back to 6. Oh, wow. It's come back 68 and 72. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. So we've had a ton of Warriors money come in this morning. Okay. That makes me feel a little better. About the whole everything. All right. Raptors get Kelly Olynyk, Agbaji. Jazz get Otto Porter, Kira Lewis, and a 2024 first-round pick. I'll take it. Marcus McCarthy in the house. Billy Friedrich says that Hield trade changes the complexion in the East. Sixers now have a third scorer. Watch out when Embiid gets back. And what kind of Embiid are you going to get back? You know, fully healthy, ready to go with no concerns, Embiid? I hope so. All right, Smooth Balls plays of the day is in. It's Samford Moneyline. We got to get to work here. We got a big card. I think we have the Samford game in here. I believe we do. Yes, we are talking about that very game. UNC Greenboro. That's one of Mikey Money's games. Beautiful. Von Polo getting the love for his birthday. I love it. I love it. Great to see all of you guys. Chang Kim, nice job. Says he would like Cash probably I say one more today, like top play in any sport. Yes, let's walk through NHL together before that. But I'm happy that Chang that Friday the 26th that you asked for, it was stuck in my head that we let you down. Slatsy, Jack Hughes is in tonight. Yeah, that was the idea. And Slatsy, I knew that was very close to happening, and I'm on the Devils, but it doesn't always work when the star player comes back, as we know. Billy Friedrich says Mrazek was auditioning for a new team. Then he signed the extension, Billy. So it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Von Polo says he's on the Mavericks today and the Lakers. It's great to see all of you guys. Great to see all of you guys. So let's get right to work. Thank you for joining us. Let us know what's going on in the trade deadline for NBA. It closes in 3 hours and 43 minutes. Let's bring on your star of NHL here every Thursday on Betting with the Bag, coming to us from Belleville, Ontario. Will be a big part of the celebration in San Antonio for Pubapalooza 3. Please welcome our guy, Mr. Gogster, to the show. Mr. Gogster, how are you, my friend?
Top of the morning, Jim. How you doing, brother?
I'm okay. It was just these roller coaster rides. I don't know. I guess maybe I added to my unit size on January 1st, and the importance of succeeding, I guess, escalating. It's very hard for me to cap now while these games are going on. You know, it's hard. It's like, how am I, there's so much on the line, and like, I'm supposed to just focus on tomorrow's action, which I'm okay at, but it's getting worse. And then if that late slate goes wrong, it's just staring at the ceiling. And I'm so worried and nervous about the Super Bowl. How could you possibly have any confidence going in against Mahomes and the Chiefs? So I'm nervous about the Sunday live stream. A lot could go wrong on that Sunday live stream. It's a Super Bowl. We're gonna be all sauced up, and I'll just keep having. It was 20-10 going to the fourth quarter 4 years ago, and I was gonna get rich off the Niners winning that one. And of course, Chiefs scored 21 points. So I'm a little concerned. There's our guy Gavin Henry in the house, Mr. Gogster. Gavin Henry, a trainer, thoroughbred trainer down in Jamaica.
Hey, I remember
beautiful racetrack down in Jamaica. Gavin Henry, we're going to be back for the Fountain of Youth Stakes. So we'll be back on March 1st. Then we'll be back again for the Florida Derby, and then we'll be back for the Kentucky Derby and the Friday as well. So, Gavin Henry, great to see you. All right, let's get to work. Caddy in the house, BT, Joey Marinaccio, the Dapper Capper, Leonard Porch Jr., and happy birthday to our Vaughn Apollo.
Birthday, Vaughn.
Well, let's get right to work. And this is also an out day with the local. After the events here, so around midnight or whatever, I have to either send in or send out anything over 500. And these Thursdays are extremely important.
Let's go, buddy.
Let's get that cash. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Vancouver Canucks 34. Oh, shoot. I'm going to be doing the
graphics,
the producing here. So keep me in check if I screw up. Here we go. Vancouver Canucks at the Boston Bruins. The Canucks 34-11-5, 16-7-3 on the road. The Boston Bruins 31-10-9, 16-5-3 at home. TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Thatcher Demko, spectacular goalie. The trade, I thought we gave up a lot for Elias Lindholm, but we got stronger with it. Yep. So, we'll take it for where it is. Thatcher Demko is playing elite right now. Vezina Trophy finalist, 27-8-1, 2.43 goals against average, 920 save percentage, 5 shutouts. Linus Ullmark I have listed. Is it going to be him? Are they going to keep going back and forth from Swayman to Ullmark?
I would expect Ullmark. Swayman went last game, so I got Ullmark here, yeah.
And Gordon Hayward heading to OKC. Keep that info coming. I love it. Thank you. Okay. Linus Ullmark, 15-6-2, 2.78 goals against average, 915 save percentage, no shutouts. Vancouver power play at 25.8%, starting to heat up again. We saw 2 goals last night with Lindholm at center. 2 nights ago. 79.6% penalty killing. Boston, 26% power play, 82.1% penalty killing. Now, these Canucks, they don't remember the horrific losses in Boston in the Stanley Cup final. Just the Canuck fans. So these Canucks don't care. And these Bruins don't care either. This is a non-issue. I mean, it is what it is. They don't care. The fans care. So there's no rivalry here, The Canucks started the second half with 3-2 win at Carolina on Tuesday. They look great. But they played a tight, clean road game, which I'm expecting the Avalanche to follow suit in, and we'll get to that one. But they only took 19 shots in the win, excelled on the power play. It was just a clean effort. The Bruins opened up their second half of the season with their worst game of the year. They lost 4-1 at home to the Flames. They were outshot 29-22, but I watched the game, or as much of it as I could, until I just couldn't watch anymore.
Well, a game that was on Sportsnet.
Yeah, it was. It was, for everybody to watch it, and the Flames dominated. It could have been 7-1.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an absolute disgrace.
Markstrom's playing well right now. He's playing really well.
He is playing well. But it was an absolute disgrace. So here we go. This is our first game on the board. The Bruins right now are minus 134. They opened up right there, minus 134. Actually, minus 133. Just moved 9 minutes ago, but they opened up minus 134, and then there was a real move towards the Canucks, and then there was buyback. And this is not a fade of the Vancouver Canucks. This is moving on the Bruins to show character after that horrific display. So I'm on the Bruins -1 at plus 124. I got it with the this was all 365 last night. Money line was minus 130. Puck line was plus 185. So that's me. I'm on the Bruins -1. Take it away for us here, Gogster. Knuckleheads against the big bad Bruins.
Yeah, they got to be alive here, I think, Boston. Looking at the spot here, Jim, second game of a 5-game roadie, too, for Vancouver. They got a back-to-back coming up on Saturday, Sunday. So not a game they're going to fall asleep by any means. This team, they got so many shots on net. I got a stat I brought up here, 5-on-5 shots on goal, home and road stats. Vancouver's number one, both on the road and at home, Jim. So these guys just love to pepper the puck. Looking at shots or net shots on goal, though, they are minus 2.5. So they do allow some defensively on the road. They are, I think, a little more susceptible here. Demko going, though, like you listed off his numbers, guys, he's been really strong. Ullmark, he should be fine here. But one thing I found here, guys, both these teams in the first period, Jim, second in the NHL right now, Vancouver, 189 goals, and then sixth is Boston now, 172. So just the way I see this game going is I think Boston's going to come out really strong, but I think Vancouver's going to be able to match it. So I'm going to take first period over, guys, 1.5. It's minus 125, bit of juice, but I do see that hitting, Jim. And then I even doubled down. I went full game over 6, minus 115. Net shots on goal 5-on-5, I think is going to be really important here, guys. And then looking at Boston, I brought up Vancouver. They're number 1. Boston's I think it was 6th or 7th at home. They got a 9.6 5-on-5 shots on goal. So both these teams are going to be quite aggressive, I think, in this game, Jimmy. Both teams are completely healthy, too. So you should have 4 lines. Well, you don't have Di Giuseppe. He's still been day-to-day for a while. Same with Susie. But I think there'll be some goals here, guys. So I doubled down, too, Jim. I went full game over 6, minus 115 here. I think it'll kind of be fire with fire. I think it'll be back and forth. I do think Boston will get the win in the end, but I think it'll be back and forth hockey game.
Over 1.5, over 6. I've heard a few people with the over. So Earl Sports, first person moving on the under here on this one. By the way, Gogster, that is not your up-to-date record. That was into the All-Star break. So that does not include Tuesday's action. But we'll get back for you. Was Tuesday a winning day?
It was a slight losing day.
Okay.
I found we've been really breaking down the games well. It's just my bets. Gogster and his bets have not been the greatest of late, but the breakdowns have been good. So that's what matters.
Well, we have time, but it's of extreme importance to get after it. The concern I have, and there's some other sharp cappers who are on the overs in this game with you, is just how clean Vancouver played. And Rick Tocchet knows a thing or two about going into Boston. He was going into the Boston Garden, of course, but you have to play a very clean. You can't let that power play get to work. But Mikey Money says, I think this game sails over the number. He says he loves this over. JP says he was thinking the first period over 2. So double up spot for Mr. Gogster and for me.
Point, though, Jim. That is a good point with the coaching there. He might not want to fight the fire with fire here with Boston. But I'm still going to trust the cap. That's a good point. I think you brought up there, buddy.
I'm not moving on the total. So it's not like I have the conviction behind it to say that I'm betting it, but double up spot for Gogster. I'm on the Bruins -1. Let's roll on to game 2 here. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the Washington Capitals, 22-19-7, 9-11-3 on the road. They're the best fade in the National Hockey League because they got off to the good start. The market has a tiny bit of respect for them, but it's going to be worse and worse as we move on. We've known, Kuznetsov had issues with the extracurricular activities. Remember him getting busted a couple times. He got busted in the Olympics, right? Was it the Olympics or the World Cup?
Was it the cocaine?
Yes.
I think so.
So he's now entered the player assistance program. He's been angry for a while.
Yeah.
Earl Sports Bet says hard pass can only look Washington plus 230, but no interest in Caps. And I just think that I don't like taking a puck line at plus 105. Look, I get it. And I even took a few cents less to send it in with my local. I could have got, I think, plus 108 at Pinnacle. But here, the Capitals must be faded. They must be faded, and there are times when you're maybe not going to want to. And I didn't really against Montreal first came out of the break, and that blew up my face. And maybe this will blow up my face because I didn't do it there and I'm hammering it here. But the Panthers started the second half of the season with a very disappointing 2-1 loss at home to the Flyers on Tuesday. It took that 1-0 lead in the intermission, and they were completely outplayed the rest of the way. And that was a horrific loss for the Capitals. It wouldn't surprise me here if the Capitals, record-wise, were as bad as the Blackhawks in the second half of the season.
I agree.
And we're going to get a ton more value fading them. Is it Kemper in between the pipes tonight?
I had Lindgren listed possibly here. I'll see if I can get an update for us.
Well, so for me, look, I took these Panthers. When you play against bad teams, you worry that a team, that a group or your guys won't show up. But you're never going to have that problem with the Capitals because of Alexander Ovechkin. You have young kids who've, they dreamt about playing against them. Now they're getting the chance to. And so I just think that players are going to be up for the Capitals. And as he, still, what's he like 62 goals away from the record? You might not get there. But I also think that when you have a team coming off of a loss, then you can expect accountability. And that's what we're going to get from the Panthers. If the Panthers had opened up their post All-Star break with a 5-1 win over the Flyers, I would not bet them here. But I am betting them here. Slatty says Caps are awful. Got blown out by my Habs, who are a one-line team. Panthers 8-2 versus Caps last 10, scoring 4 more than 7-8. Panthers coming off a loss. Perfect spot for the Cavaliers. Great to hear, DC. Great to hear, my man. So take it away here for us, Gogster. Capitals, Panthers, and I'm on the Panthers on the puck line.
A lot of things are in favor here, for Florida here, guys. Just Lindgren, looking at both of these teams, like Lindgren, I had Montreal, actually, in all honesty, last on Tuesday show, Jim, but then I changed it. I changed it to the under because I thought Lindgren, I looked at numbers, him against Montreal. He was really good against his former team, and he had a really bad start. So I expect him, his numbers, he's about a 900 save percentage all year. But I think he's going to have a better start. Same with the Capitals. I think they're under hockey team. Like they have really trouble scoring. Net shots on goals, not the greatest. All the numbers are in favor of Florida. But just bringing up Cousins here, Belleville guy, kind of know him. He's a bit of a shit disturber, as everyone knows now in the NHL. It took a while, but everyone knows it now. He's back in the lineup, and I don't want to be hating on Cuzzy too much here, but they came up with a dud that first game. They should be better here, but. They were really good without him. They were humming without Nick Cousins. I don't want to say he's a problem in the locker room, but they should bounce back here. I wanted to take them in the first period, Florida, but I think it's going to be more of a tighter game early, Jim. Kind of like what you're saying, especially accountability. I could see it going on both sides here. So I took no goal in the first 9 minutes, guys. 30 seconds plus 115. I like this one. I wouldn't talk anyone off Florida. I think it'll be a lower scoring game here, though. Bobrovsky's also going to be starting. Last game we had. Who was it? Stolars, I believe, because Bobrovsky was at the All-Star break. So better start from these goalies. I would pretty strong lean to the under here as well. I'm on no goal first 9 minutes, though, 30 seconds.
There's been an absolutely massive move towards the Panthers. So what I think that everybody has to do with the Capitals is you have to fade them the night before or the afternoon before or as soon as the line comes out. This came out at 1:05 p.m. at Pinnacle with Florida minus 228. They're minus 271 right now. Got to move early. That's just a massive, massive move towards the Panthers. And also, if you can get a team that's coming off of a loss, that will also maybe push towards a move on the opposition of the Capitals. This total opened up at 6. It was down to 5.5 for most of this morning. It's back at 6 and back at 6 at Pick'em. Overall, there has even though it was at 5.5 for a while, there has been a 9-cent move towards the over. We roll on. Rocco says that's why he parlayed Florida with the Heat last night. The Heat took over here. Top Crocodile says, wow, the Knicks got Bogdan and Burks. The Knicks are all in. A Real Sports Bet says if this hits plus 260, you might have to bite on Washington. I mean,
I think it'll be
when there's an 80 or 90 cent move.
Not that I don't trust Florida. Actually, I shouldn't talk about Florida. You know what happened with me about Matthew Tkachuk and how that backfired. So I'm not going to say anything about Florida anymore.
Well, let's roll on. Next up, here we go. Next up for us, more moves for me. 7 p.m. Eastern, Calgary Flames 23, 22, and 5, 11, 11, and 4 on the road. At the New Jersey Devils 25, 20, and 3, 11, 11, and 2 at home. It's shocking to see them 25, 23, 11, 11, 2 at home. There is a lot of people who believe that this Devils team is going to sort of sputter down to the finish line and not make the playoffs. And I couldn't disagree with them more. And even if they sputter here for a couple weeks, $9 million sitting in the fund for the trade deadline is massive. Massive.
They got leeway.
Now they have problems, especially in between the pipes. So they need help. And that's probably where most of the money is going to go to. I've got Vanacek listed. Who do you expect to be between the pipes?
I had Dawes last show, and it was Vanacek on Tuesday. I got Dawes listed, but I think they go to Dawes. Well, actually, no, they won last game with Vanacek, so maybe they do go back to Vanacek, yeah.
And I can understand Earl fading Hughes' return, but what means more to me is to fade the Calgary Flames. Now, Huberdeau scored his 7th goal of the year. Kuzmenko sparked that first line. Kadri had 3 assists. But I know who the Flames really are. And I think that the perfect time to fade them is after a real special victory, by far their best of the season. And this is a Devils team that's 11-11 at home. It's not like they're going to sit back and relax here. So I think that people who have been fading the Devils, who lost on them against the Avalanche, just want to continue fading them. And fading them because their star player returns, we see how that succeeds. So I can understand that angle and that Earl's on. I can completely understand it. But I'm not doing it. I'm going to fade the Flames, especially after great performances, every single chance I get. And they were excellent. They outplayed the Bruins in every facet of the game. The Devils opened up the second half with an impressive 5-3 victory at home over the Avalanche. Hughes is back. Toffoli is expected to be back. Still no Jonas Siegenthaler. He had that broken foot since January 9th. And Brendan Smith's been out with a knee injury. Both are very close to returning, but haven't yet. So when Earl says, wants to fade Vanacek and wants to fade the star player returning, that makes sense to me, but it doesn't trump for me the fact that I want to fade the Flames after their best performance of the year, because I truly believe I know who they really are. Now, how long is this boost from Kuzmenko going to last? It could last tonight. I do not think it will. This total is at 6.5. There has been a 6-cent move towards the over. And from a money line standpoint here, we have New Jersey at minus 140. They opened up at minus 128. They got up to minus 147 about an hour ago. There's been buyback here, but still a 12-cent move to the Devils. And I will not miss the opportunity to fade the Calgary Flames. I will not. I will not miss the opportunity to fade the Washington Capitals. I will not let a day go by where I don't stick my sharpened chopstick into that team's fucking larynx. Take it away for us, Gogster. Flames Devils.
Yeah, good points there, Jim, with the injuries. I think right now, the defensively and with their goaltending, there's just a little bit of Swiss cheese going on with the Devils. They got a lot of offense. They got like 4 lines now. I'm seeing Toffoli, Hughes, and Holtz, Alexander Holtz on the 3rd line. But they got Palat, Heischer, Brad, Meyer, Holla, Mercer. They're deep guys. A lot of offense here. And the way Calgary's playing too, Jim, I got a hard time fading. I know eventually, I think the letdown will happen soon, but I think they still going to have the momentum going into New Jersey here. Finally seeing Huberdeau playing, you can finally find him on the ice against Boston. I found he was really good. Best game I've noticed all year. So I think there's going to be a lot of offense here. Bringing up some goalie stats quickly here. I know I was talking how good Markstrom was, but against the Devils when he's been on Calgary, Jim, 881 save percentage. So he had a struggle against this team. They're getting back Hughes. Toffoli's he's back in the lineup too. So there's going to be a lot of offense here, guys. I'm going with the full game over 6. I wouldn't talk anyone off though, like a first period, both teams to score. But I went with full game over. It was actually 6 minus 125 overnight, Jim. It switched on me pretty heavy. So I end up tweeting out here, guys. Let me just find it. I think it was 6.5 at minus 110. It was there. Let me just see if I can. Yeah, 6.5 minus 109. Calgary, New Jersey Devils, guys, over 6.5 minus 109. Should be a back and forth hockey game. And I think Markstrom, he's looked really good. I'd be surprised if the Devils still don't score at least 3. And then same with the Flames on Vanacek or Dawes, just defensively. There's just problems, I think, for the Devils. So all in all, adds up to an over for me, guys.
You got it. Devils for me. Let's move on. I only have one more spot on the board here in NHL. 7 p.m. I don't have anything in this one. Winnipeg Jets 30-13-5, 14-6-3 on the road at Philadelphia Flyers, 26-19, 6-11, 12-2 at home. Something that would, buoy Nicholas Earl's thoughts on fading the Devils with their star player back is what we saw from the Jets with their star player back in Mark Scheifele, who had a goal taken away from him in the 3rd period. But that game changed on the hit, the 5-minute power play for the Penn's power play finally looked good. And that game just drastically changed. But that was their 4th straight loss for the Jets. Remember, that came on the heels of winning 10 of 11. And Monahan played with Perfetti and Ehlers. And the Jets have allowed more than 2 goals. That was just the 4th time in their last 26 games. And I don't want the Jets here on this road trip. I don't. They're going to be a really good hockey team. I'm curious to see how many fans turn out. And Earl is on the under 5.5, says projected for 5.01. I get that, especially with the way Hellebuck's playing. I'm curious to see if Ersan can continue this momentum that he's building. Both teams' power plays are weak. It's pretty interesting how bad the Jets' special teams are. Yeah. And I got to change this. Oh, we don't have a game here for this one. Sorry. So this one, we'll just put nothing here. Let me pull this off. And I think the lack of special teams is going to hurt the Jets come playoff time. I really do. Now, Hellebuck can handle all that. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is the Winnipeg Jets. So let's take a look at the line history here and hand it over to Mr. Gogster. From a line history standpoint, we have the Jets sitting at minus 138. They opened up at minus 141. This got down. At first, though, this was hammered. This got up to minus 161 till the Flyers buyback came. I've got the Flyers to miss the playoffs at plus 130, and I'm going to want to fade them at some point here down the stretch. This isn't it here. This total is at 5.5, minus 110 to the under. This opened up plus 101 to the under, so 11-cent move at Pinnacle towards the under. Take it away for us here, Gokster. Jets, Flyers.
Yeah, this is see how he does here, Ersan, because they're not going to be seeing Hart anytime soon. He's been convicted, I think, there, Jim. But looking at this Flyers team, my numbers are right here. I'm pretty sure they are 35 shots on goal at home, 27 against. They're net 7.8. They're actually like top 5, net shots on goal. So that's a good sign for them. But going up against Hellebuck, he's had a not exactly I didn't call it or anything, but I was kind of saying maybe coming back off the break there, Jim, because he played in the All-Star game too, right? And then he going on the road, he just it wasn't necessarily his fault. He only allowed 3. So, but in this game, guys, 7.3 5-on-5 shots against 2 for Winnipeg, 6.6 for for Philly. So they're going to want to get on the power play, but the power play is only 17%. All in all, guys, I know I'm kind of capping this like on the fly. I think it's going to be tight early. 23rd in the NHL, Jim, with 148 goals in the first period, then 27th for Philadelphia. So both these teams are slower starting teams. I'm going to take no goal in the first. I already did, actually. No goal in the first 9 minutes, 30 seconds, minus 105. See this being tight early. I know the Jets, they laid an egg in that first game, but I think the Flyers will be accountable enough. They got Zumala. I was questioning if he was going to be back Tuesday. He is. So no goal in the first 9 minutes, 30 seconds, I think is very live here, guys.
You got it. Let's move on to the next spot on the board here. And I did move on this one. This is my last bet in the NHL. Colorado Avalanche 32-15-4, 12-10-4 on the road. Carolina Hurricanes 28-16-5, 15-6-4 at home at PNC Arena, Raleigh, North Carolina. Alexander Georgiev, who's not been very good this year, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him step up in the second half of the season leading into the playoffs. Billy Friedrich will be in attendance for this one. That's dope, Billy.
Really?
And Fernando Mendoza says under 6.5, let your nuts hang. Yes, Fernando, my nuts are hanging on the under 6.5 as well. I got the under 6.5 at minus 112 at Pinnacle. Kochekov going to be in net. Need him in net. Need him to start stepping up here. But this was more about the X's and O's here from the Colorado side of things. Colorado opened the second half with a 2-1 overtime loss at the Rangers on Monday, but they played a clean game, clean road game. Then they went into New Jersey and things fell apart. They lose 5-3. That's unacceptable. They're not going to play like that here. They're going to play, in my estimation, they're going to play a very clean, conservative, defensive-minded game. And the Hurricanes, they're back to their old self. The market will not be able to, and especially when you play against a high-scoring team like the Avalanche, but the market's not going to be able to fix itself in time here. It won't. The Hurricanes, with their horrific goaltending, were starting to play the overs, and that's what the market sees. But they played 4 straight unders, and I don't think it's going to change here. They opened up their second half season with 3-2 loss at home versus the Canucks on Tuesday. Billy Friedrich says Kochekov is bad at home. He gave up 6 goals for Avs earlier this year. Svechnikov, I don't think goes tonight. Interesting. Yeah. More likely he will be back for. So you agree? You think it won't be Kochekov either?
No, I think Kochekov, but I kind of think he's a little susceptible here.
These young goaltenders, I don't believe in the sample size having a bad game against the team. Personally, I especially a fiery guy like Kochekov. But it's fair if you guys want to, load those in and trust them. I'm not saying you don't need to, but this should not be a 6.5. There's no team that Carolina can play in the NHL that I will not, if it's listed at 6.5, that I will not go under it at home, especially. Take it away for us here, Gogster. Avalanche, Hurricanes.
Yeah, this is the one game I had a no play. I had both teams to score in the first period with a question mark, but I didn't end up firing. Just some stats here. Colorado is first in the NHL, Jim, right now with 192 goals in the first period. So they do come out pretty strong. And I do think I have a lean to them first period here. Anderson, I'm seeing February 13th now. He could be back. So he's been on the shelf for a while, but both these teams, 32 shots on goal on the road for Colorado, 34 for Carolina. So both of them are going to get after. Defensively, they're accountable. 20% power play, home road splits. Shots on goal are both over 8%, which I'd say is about average. Not enough for me to you'd think I got so many picks, but I wasn't confident enough on this one. I kind of lean to the over, but at 6.5, I agree, Jim. That's too high. I would want more like a 6 minus 110. I wouldn't be on the over confident, like strong enough to put the old hard-earned cash on it. So no play for me, but I'm going to root on that under 6.5 for you today.
Wow. Yeah. Rem's saying it is moved to 6 at Penny. It's, wow.
Yeah, it makes more sense.
I like that. It's minus 120 to the over, plus 106 to the under. See what 365 did. 365 was only offering me the 6.5 minus 120, and they still are. So they haven't changed their action. Yep. All right, let's roll on. Epic Cappers in the house. We got college basketball coming up here shortly. Billy Friedrich says if I had to bet the total, he'd be on the under. He did move on the Avs at plus 112 for first period and full game. All right, let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Tampa Bay Lightning 27-19-5, 10-14-2 on the road at New York Islanders 21-17-12, 12-6-7 at home. UBS Arena in Elmont, New York. Jonas Johansson in between the pipes for the Lightning going up against Ilya Sorokin. Tampa Bay 29.8% power play, 81.3% penalty killing. Islanders 22.6 and just 72.1% penalty killing. Epic Cappers moving on Towson. I'll copy and paste that because that game is coming up with Mikey Money, I believe. I'd have to double check, but I believe. Earl Sports Bet says wanted the Islanders, but not at minus 140. Isles or pass. Lightning on the second half back-to-back after losing 3-1 at Rangers last night. They only took 19 shots in the loss. It's pretty ugly. And then, of course, we had the Sergachev injury, which was ugly. Did you see it? It was ugly.
I saw a replay of it, yeah.
Awkward angle and ugly. Lucky Lefty in the house. Nice to see you.
Off.
It was his first game back after missing 17 games. He's been out since September 19th. And the Islanders snapped their 3-game losing streak in their first game back from the All-Star break, defeating the Leafs 3-2 on Monday in Toronto Monday. What the defense had to go through without Pulock and Pelech, it can't be undervalued, underestimated, whatever you want to say. They become so much stronger as a group, and now they have two spectacular big stay-at-home defensemen back. The Islanders are going to be bet on. They're going to be bet on. I don't know if this is the spot to do it. Maybe we'll want them as dogs. I mean, it's tricky. I also think that unders are going to be in play. Do you want an under with Jonas Johansson? No. This opened up at 3:53 a.m. at 6 at Pinnacle, and 3 minutes later it was a 6.5. So that goes to show you what people think of the Lightning with Johansson in net. But I still believe in the Lightning, and they lost a tough game against the Rangers, and now no travel. Play against the Islanders tonight. I want to find ways to back the Islanders. I just didn't find it here. Take it away. If the Lightning had beaten the Rangers last night, then I would probably be on the Islanders here. But some makes me a little uncomfortable. Take it away for us here, Gogster, Lightning, Islanders.
Yeah, I find it's going to be a back and forth, kind of a higher scoring game here. Sorokin's 3-6-1 his last 10 games. And Johansson, you brought it up, Jim. I need a little more from Johansson. He's not going to get it done for you. Net shots on goal, I've been bringing up on the show, minus 1.7, minus 3.4. So both teams have been susceptible, but Jimmy's right with the fact Pelech and Pulock are coming back. So that'll improve for the Islanders and their coaching. Over 20% power play, though, for both these teams. Short and sweet. I ended up pulling the trigger guys on the over 6. And now, again, it was minus 110. It did go up, but I think the Islanders are going to have a really strong game here. Bounce back. They know, too, with Johansson. You don't want to have a 2-1 lead with Johansson. That you need to give them some goals. So Tampa Bay are going to have a good game here, but I think the Islanders will be able to match them here. So give me the full game over 6.5. It is now, guys, and I got that at plus 102. Tampa Bay, Tampa Bay, and I tweeted that out wrong. New York Islanders. I tweeted out New Jersey Devils. My apologies.
No worries. DG says time of the year where he places Carolina futures and gets his heart broken. Svechnikov is going to be back. They're undervalued right now. They're a good hockey team. They're going to be a problem in the East.
Yeah,
we know that for sure. I don't know how far they go, but they're going to be a problem. Leonard says, sounds like your highest confidence is the Hurricanes under 6.5. I'm not sure if it is. At this point, just because they are still playing the Avalanche. I believe in the X's and O's for it, but I'd like to go over everything here once more and find what the most confident spot on the board is. 9 p.m. East. I cannot believe I'm sitting here down 0.58 units last night. I mean, the Leafs -1 should have cashed. The Rangers -1 did. The missing those two empty nets. I've missed so many empty nets this year. It just makes me want to smash something. Let's roll on. And Billy Freak says, I don't see the Canes beating the Rangers or Panthers. We're due to see them go out in the first round. I'm a Canes fan. I think they could beat the Rangers, and I think they can get hot. And I love their coach. So we'll see what they do at the deadline. Yes, Equanimus, the Lightning will be without Mikhail Sergachev for the rest of the season, I'm guessing. Let's move on to the final game on the board before we get into college basketball with Mikey Money, 9 p.m. Eastern. Vegas Golden Knights 30-15-6, 11-10-4 on the road. At the Arizona Coyotes 23-22 and 3, 59-0 at home. Mullet Arena in Tempe, Arizona. Everything, it was so hard for me not to bet the Coyotes. And, when it comes down to it, is Matt Dumba going to be back in the lineup? Because, look, you could talk about how he's not been very good this year. And that would be fine. I don't think he's back, even though they say he might be back. I don't think he's back. But he's playing 20 minutes a game. This team does not have the defensive depth. They're missing Stetcher. They're missing Travis Dermott. Dermott could be back today. I expect Dermott to be back. But Stetcher is not coming back yet. But these are important defensemen that they're missing. And we saw how bad they looked. Now, this is their first game since the All-Star break, but they looked horrific without Dumba there. And it's not that Dumba's a great defensive defenseman. He's not. But you take out someone who's playing 20 minutes a game, it's hard to adjust. And Vegas comes in off a 3-1 win at home over Edmonton on Tuesday. Snapped the Oilers' 16-game winning streak. Is that not the perfect time to fade a hockey team? Mm-hmm. It is. It is. But I can't do it with these, especially you have Vegas who snaps this team's 16-game winning streak, one away from the NHL record in front of a sold-out arena in Vegas, and then you go play in Mullet Arena in front of 5,000 people. I mean, it's not easy for these pros to do it. Now the young kids on Arizona are used to it, but this total is sitting at 5.5 minus 117 to the over open minus 114 over, no movement. God, I wish I could bet the Yotes. I can't. I do think it's, I can understand why it's moved. The Coyotes have gone from plus 136 to plus 120. I saw the big move happening, and I completely understood it. Slatsy says when Vegas gets Eichel back, they're going to be a problem for a lot of teams. Slatsy, the Eichel situation is the best thing that could have happened to Vegas. They get to put him on LTIR, and now they have money at the deadline. This is a gift for them. They'll hold him out. They'll keep him out. If they don't have any issue to get into the playoffs, they'll keep him out longer. They'll keep him out as long as possible because they're going to be able to be buyers now, and they were never going to be buyers. Michael Johnson says you like the under in the Vegas game. I can't trust the Yotes defensively with the injuries to their defensive core because they already have a group of forwards that are not known for defensive accountability. So I can't back that. But if it's Aiden Hill, I mean, if you put his numbers through a full season here with where he's at, I mean, they're better than the Dominator. Final spot on the board here. Gogster, take it away. Golden Knights, Coyotes.
Yeah, this is I wouldn't talk anyone off the over. Just you brought up, I think, a good point. I didn't realize, Jim. Oh, yeah, the injuries. I knew the injuries, but just the guys they have in, like this Victor Soderstrom and Michael Kessler, could be butchering their names. I think I got that one right, though. They haven't played much with the big boys. Probably came from the AHL Tucson Roadrunners. So I don't think – and looking at their shots on goal for a lot of these defensemen, other than J.J. Moser and Sean Dursey, those guys will feed the puck to this team. But those two – the last two lines on defense, they're going to be stay at home. So I wouldn't talk anyone off and under here. You got Ingram and Hill, two goalies I really trust, actually. And everyone saw how good Hill was against Edmonton. Unbelievable. So what I ended up pulling the trigger on, I'm kind of having a bit of buyer's remorse on this one. I can't lie. I already pulled the trigger, though, on AZ team total over 2.5 minus 115. Their shots on goal, here's the reason. 5-on-5 shots on goal, 10.9%. They're going to fire the puck. And they are missing some guys defensively, but they got their mainstays on offense here. 8.84 shots on goal, that is, for Vegas. What I ended up firing, was team total over 2.5 minus 115. I also played Arizona first period plus 115. I do think, if anything, they're going to get Vegas early here after that big high they had against Edmonton. Arizona, too, kind of didn't play too well at the end of the break there. But you're looking at Ingram. He's 11-4 with a .917 save percentage at home. He's a good home goalie. So I expect him to have a strong start here. First period, I'll trust Arizona, guys, plus 115. Team total over 2.5 on Arizona. Crossing the fingers on that one a little more than I was before the show, just based on the missing some defensemen that are going to feed the puck. Like, I'm just worried that they might not be shooting as much just based on their defense, other than those two guys I brought up with Dursey and Moser. So first period, Arizona, a money line plus 115. Feel strong on that one.
I expect Aiden Hill in that. Is there any chance it's Logan Thompson? I don't see why there would be. I mean, Aiden Hill got the break over the All-Star break. I don't see why you wouldn't throw him in.
I don't know. You know who loves doing this actually is their coach. What's his name there? Their coach. He did that with Boston, Jim, for a while. I remember Boston always used to go back and forth. So I don't. If it is Thompson, I feel stronger. I feel a lot stronger on my over 2.5 Arizona team total. Yeah, and even that first period. But he has done that. I know the coach there for Boston. He's done that for really his whole career. So good point. If whoever brought that up, I don't. The scheduling spot here. I don't think they're on a back-to-back. Let's just see here really quick. They play Minnesota on the 12th and then Carolina on the 17th. So they don't have a lot of games really coming up. So I would expect Hill, but you kind of never know. We're going to want to see, but it's such a late game too. We're not going to find out probably till at least 3 o'clock. So
that is our NHL breakdown for today. Shout out to Razor Sharp Picks. Razor's horse play today, Fairgrounds Race 7. It's the 9 Air Force Cruising at 5-1. Air Force Cruising at 5-1. Thank you for sharing that. Put that right under the spreadsheet plays of the day. Spreadsheet play today in NHL is the Winnipeg Jets. Let's review all action here in NHL. We'll start with Gogster. He's got Calgary, New Jersey Devils over 6 at -125. Washington, Florida, no goal first 9.5 at +115. Vancouver, Boston, first period over, and Vancouver, Boston over 6. Winnipeg, Philadelphia, no goal first 9.5. Tampa Bay Lightning, New York Islanders over 6. And he's got the double up for Arizona, first period money line, and Arizona team total over 2.5. And then for me, I've got 4 spots on the board, and Devils -1 at +113, Bruins -1 at +124, Panthers -1.5 at +105, and Colorado, Carolina under 6.5 at -112. And I'm not going to add anything. And when we're talking about what's the best bet here on the board in NHL, and like what do you want, for my man Chang, like what I think that we wait for college basketball, because I've seen Mikey's card. And he's got a lot of home teams that I really like and that are correlated here. So I wouldn't mind going over his action at this point, because right now I can understand why anybody would want to fade the Devils with their star player coming back. I could understand why anybody would want to be on the Vancouver Canucks. I get it. I guess the Panthers, and the Panthers money line as a parlay piece is the exact same price as the Wild, and I'm the same confidence in it. The problem is that the puck line is the only way to really bet it, unless you're using the Panthers money line as a parlay piece. So I guess Chang at this point, the Panthers money line as a parlay piece would probably be the spot here. Let's roll. Gogster, we got to heat up. We have to heat up.
Yep.
We have to heat up. We can't slip here. We got to get. We were right at the black, and now we got to get to the black. So get that cash. We all believe in you very much, Gogster, and we're all pumped up for Pubapalooza as well. What's going on for you for the rest of the week? You got your golf action out? Is that all?
Yeah, guys. Yeah, we got golf. Just quickly, I just want to bring up my favorite play here too in hockey. Flames Devils. I got so many picks. People probably wondering what one's my favorite. Flames Devils. I'm going full game over there. If you want to be safe and put a 5.5 in a parlay, I wouldn't say no to that. But 6.5. I see this being a high scoring game. So that's my favorite play in hockey. But golf, guys, it's live. It's literally live. Live, however you want to call it. It's in Vegas right now, Jim. There's everything going on in Vegas. It's insane. Live Golf right behind the Westgate right now. I got 3 golfers in the mix here. I got DeChambeau 15-1. I got my guy Louis Oosthuizen, and I got Abe Answer all to win this event. And I also got them first run leaders with Howell. And then Waste Management, Jim, that actually tees off, guys, in about an hour. Hour 15 shotgun start there for Live. Gotta love the shotgun starts. And then Waste Management, I had some golfers there. Check it out, guys. Gogster 99. They've already started, so you can still get outrights. The live outrights are still available, but check it out there. Gogster 99. Jimmy, fun time as always, buddy. I'll see you on Tuesday.
Yes. Well, we'll talk all about that. I'm not entirely sure how the schedule is going to bang out, but I will be in touch with you, my friend.
Perfect. Can't wait, brother. Be good.
Be well. There he is, Mr. Gogster in the house. All right, let's roll into college basketball and the heater that our next guest is on. and all of our college basketball has continued. Another winning night for Mikey Money, 6 and 4, plus 1.98 units yesterday. He's now plus 11.41 units, ROI plus 11.30%, with an average line of plus 100. Please welcome from the dirtiest of Chesters, a man running hot, and we need him to keep running hot. Please welcome Mikey Money to the show. Mikey, how are you, my friend?
Hey, man, we're always great on a Thursday, Jimmy. The bridge to the weekend, Friday, is right around the corner. And then we're on our Super Bowl weekend, baby. It's going to be a lot of fun. But we got to get that cash. We got to build these bankrolls to take them shots here for the weekend. So I'm ready to go. I hope you guys are as well. Shout out all you guys in the chat there. I see you guys. Nasty Nate, the Cheshire Cat, Billy Eagle, Justin, Top Crocodile, Andrew G. Let's have some fun. Let's get some cash. And, 6 and 4 positive units, but not good enough. I was texting you earlier today. I said too much work going in just to squeak out a 2-unit type of day. We got to get going. We got to get better. We got to get stronger.
Well, I believe in you. You're running very, very hot right now, and I expect a lot of these spots to come right into my wheelhouse. You've got a lot of home teams with worse records than the road teams. You got a really interesting situation here that I think that I will be a big part of. So let's get to work. Let me just set this up here quickly. Providence was a great score. Michigan was a great score for you yesterday. It was excellent work. So let me just get this all set up.
We got Nova. Nova didn't get us the money line, but we got that Nova.
Got the cover.
Snuck in there to give us some great live betting opportunities as well in those spots. So we got there. Some of the losses. Furman was a shitbag spot, but we still got some live bet plays in there too. So even the losses, we're still able to kind of neutralize them with some of those live betting positions, and away we go.
Well, away we go. Let's get to work. We start, Mikey, with a big one. Now, this game will also be touched on by Dabra Cadabra, but let's go 7 p.m. Eastern. And we don't have Jose here, so we don't have graphics for college basketball, but we will do our best to timestamp them when the show is over. Let's go. Here we roll. Memphis Tigers 16 and 6, 5 and 4 in the American. At the Temple Owls 8 and 14, 1 and 8 in the American. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for this one. We have Memphis here snapping that losing streak. It was an ugly losing streak. It kind of came out of nowhere. They snapped it, barely beating Wichita at home 65-63. Is there something wrong with this Memphis squad right now? Temple coming off back-to-back overtime losses on the road. East Carolina, they lose by 6. Then they lose at Tulane. If you look at the similar opponents, which they have a bunch of, Temple's not been that much worse than Memphis over the last little bit. A team that's 1 and 8 in conference, these Temple Owls. But they are in the throes of a 7-game losing streak. The last 4 have been all very close games, 2 in overtime, and then they lose by 6 at home to South Florida and lose by 3 at home to Rice. So here we go. And they play again on Sunday. They play at home versus Charlotte. So they got Memphis here and then Charlotte. Morocco says, when can we buy on Memphis? Well, let's take a look at the line history and then hand it over and the cash flow. Sorry, let me make sure I got the cash flow ready to go up here as well. And then we'll hand it over to Mr. Money, Monsieur Money. We have here, get this up. I thought I had it ready for us here. Damn. Well, let's just go into the cash flow. How about we start there here? We have 47% of the tickets and 57% of the cash on Temple. So they are being backed. On a total side of things, 57% of the tickets and 98% of the cash is on the over. So the over is also being backed. Why can't I find this Temple? Here we go. So this is the situation. We're using BetOnline openers, of course. If you need a new account at BetOnline, do it on our website. Give you 100% bonus up to $1,000. Doesn't have to be crypto. It can be cash. They open up Temple plus 6.5 at minus 115. That gets up to 7.5 at 4 in the morning. It doesn't move though. It doesn't move for 14 hours, and then it goes to 7.5, and then it comes right back. So at this point, we've had a 10-cent move to Memphis. That's it. Just a 10-cent move. From a total side of things, we know that all these big bets have been placed on the over. Let's see if that is moving the market on this over. Here we go. We have at BetOnline right now a 148.5. So despite all the money on the over, this has dropped 1.5 in the last 2 hours. Take it away for us here, Mikey, your first game on the board, Memphis Temple.
Perfect situation when you start looking at the opportunity for the line movement in this thing here. A lot of guys try to duplicate it, but they're just not able to kind of connect the dots. And this is where, I guess it depends on where your opening number is. I could certainly see that, but might have been pretty dialed in for this college basketball season. And yeah, we got this number for me open at 7.5, taking a dip. The two numbers I look at, the percentage of the bets, that to me correlates with where the public money is. Of course, they're looking at this team and seeing how bad Temple is, so they're jumping in on Memphis. The percentage of bets, not always, but typically orientates itself around bigger bettors, and bigger bettors tend to be sharper bettors. Now, not with the Super Bowl, not when we got guys flying in from out of town with hundreds of millions of dollars and they're dropping $1 million on a team just because they want to have a little juice in the game. But I also correlate the the overs to the dogs in this spot here. And if you look at this Temple team, here we go. Is there a bigger bag of dog shit than Temple out there? And you could argue that the answer is no. And it's not really much of an argument. However, you nailed it. I think, the whole look at this game is when you look at these common opponents and where they've been and where they're heading. When you look at this team with Memphis, they just came off a win. But prior to that, they stacked themselves up 4 losses. It didn't matter if they were on the road or not. The big spot, though, for me, when you look at, somebody asked, is it buy on the Memphis side of things here, and look at this Wichita State game. So they're on the road. They're a 4.5-point favorite on January 14th. That was the Monday, I believe it was an afternoon start as well for the Martin Luther King extravaganza there, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe that was Sunday. Maybe I'm off one day. Nonetheless, here, 112.86 as a 4.5-point road favorite. They go back home. So they beat them up, right? They beat them up handily by, what is that, almost 30 points between the two. And you look at it at a -4.5. Now they come back home, their most recent win, their only win in their last 5 games, and they're a 9.5-point favorite. They barely snuck in that win at home in a revenge spot there. I get it was a revenge spot, but, speaking of revenge, when you look at this Memphis schedule, 81-79, 3.5-point favorite on the road, lost to the Green Wave on January 21st. And who's next on deck for Memphis? The Tulane Green Wave. So I think this is an opportunity clearly for the look ahead. It doesn't get much worse. If you look at any of the numbers for Temple, it's just bad. They're essentially a one-man band there. And what's his name? Hayseer Miller. And, he's got less than 16 points and assists. He shoots 16 attempts a game. He's just not making anything. He's 6 of 35 in a combination of his last 3 games. 0 for 20 from the 3. And most of those numbers that he got in that 6 were from one single game. So their best guy in the program struggling at best here. But I think it's an opportunity for a strict look ahead, when you break down this Memphis team. And, somebody was mentioning again that when do we buy on Memphis? Memphis started off 15-2, cranking it out there. They were certainly a top spot in the Bart Torvak rankings out there. But since then, 1-9 against the spread, not anything to write home about. They did trail that Wichita State game as well by 11 points, but you look at Wichita State, that Memphis barely snuck it by, and guess who else beat them? Temple. So, here's the spot where I see Memphis lost that guard, Caleb Mills. I think that's a big deal. They've been able to kind of spread the ball around, but they're starting to show some signs of some wear and tear in that situation. And we've got an opportunity where Memphis has been, just terrible. Penny Hardaway's got to be looking at this thing going, what did I do here? And 7-15 against the spread. Temple on the other side, 7-13. So pretty comparably matched. And you're going to fire off a +7 on that thing. AAC home court opportunities. These teams on the home court, our coin flip, it's 32-31, but they're typically lined as a 3-point favorite. That's how bad Temple is here, that they're essentially making it a 7-point dog and saying it's about a 10-point swing. But we're seeing in these outright spots, it's 41-27. So there's ever an opportunity for Temple to find a way to come up with a win, it's against this 7-15 Memphis team that I'm fairly confident is in this look-ahead spot. So I'm on this +7 right now. I love the numbers and where we're going with that 46% of the bets and 57% of the cash. Give me the Temple Owls. And anybody knows me, you guys know my passion about Philadelphia. I hate Temple. There's a saying around my house, and it's real simple. 2 words. Fuck Temple. But today, +7, now moving. Just in, breaking news. Somebody's listening to this thing because it's just moved to 6.5. How about that, Jimmy?
Still can get you the +7 though. There's a couple books and one Bovada hanging the -105, so we will lock you in. I'm interested in joining you with Temple. I can also understand why Nicholas Earl, using season-long stats, would say that this is a nice number for Memphis. He's graded him out at 9.5. I get that. If you use stats from the last, or from the conference, if you only use conference stats, I don't think that number would come out that way. So I think Temple +7 is a very appealing spot.
The thing about those, and I like the way you reference it with the season-long numbers, because what have we been doing lately? We've been looking at just the last game, and I know that's not necessarily a fair sample, but how these teams finish kind of correlating to how they start those next games, and we've been pretty dialed in with it. So shrinking the sample down now, it's specifically because to start this season off, that non-conference factor this year, I said this yesterday, this year, more weighted than any years in the past as far as the opportunity for NCAA tournament seeding and standings here. So the non-con stuff was a huge factor, and I think you see a different game plan as they transition to conference, especially the second time through. These guys could give a shit about some of these conference games now, and yeah, it's more important that they revenge a spot like in that Tulane Green Wave situation. So shrink the numbers down gives us, I think, a better look at what's going on for the smaller, the micro here when it comes to the next week or so of scheduling.
Let's roll on. And also, Philly Eagle Flyer, the wild puck line, Zuccarello missing that empty net. I can't stop seeing it. I just can't stop seeing it. Watching these superstars not be able to hit empty nets from, the far blue line makes me want to smash something.
Nailed that under 5.5. That was a -105 spot. The ROI has been pretty nice as of late with some of these lower number spots.
I love 5.5s. I love going under 5.5s. I do.
Yeah.
No, but people are afraid of going under 5.5s. It was a great call. I just wasn't sure if they'd have the defensive accountability, and I don't even know if they did. Mrazek was fucking spectacular.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's move on here. We have Mikey Money on the board, Temple +7. Next up, 7 p.m. Eastern, we have the Delaware Blue Hens, 14-9, 6-4 in the CAA. At Towson Tigers, 14-9, 7-3 in the CAA. We're in Towson, Maryland for this one. Let's get into the situation at hand, and that is the Delaware Blue Hens have won 3 of 4. They're playing good basketball here. Now, they're right with Towson. Towson's a game up in the conference, 1 game back of Drexel, tied with Charleston and UNC Wilmington. We'll be talking about Charleston here as well. Delaware's won 3 of 4. They lost to Towson at home, 67-56, 3 games back on the 27th of January. They lost. They shot 37.3% from the field, 22.2% from 3. Look, Delaware, this is Towson. They did not shoot well, and they won. Delaware shot poorly too. Towson dominated the boards on the road. In that one, Delaware was a 2.5-point favorite, and Towson was in control all game long. I mean, the last time that game was tied was, was it ever? Towson was in control all game long. We're saying all game long in that one. So will there be Rebenga here? Towson just had their winning streak come to a halt. They lost at Hofstra. They didn't look good doing it. They lost 59-56. And there's another situation where they just couldn't shoot. I mean, Hofstra shot 47.8% from 3, while Towson shot 25% from 3. And Towson only lost by 3 in that. So let's see if this is a bounce back spot for Towson. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We will start with we'll start with the spread here for Towson Hofstra. Oh, excuse me. Hofstra's playing Hampton. What the hell's wrong with me? The Towson Delaware Blue Hens spot. So much 7 p.m. action. Here we go. We have Towson right now at Pinnacle. We're going to go over to Bet Online, but at Pinnacle, it's a 4. It is juiced towards the Blue Hens. And at Bet Online, it's a 4 at a pick'em. So Towson opened up at 4.5. There was within 3 hours a 1.5 move towards Delaware, and it's come back. So since it opened, there's been a 0.5-point move towards the Blue Hens. And from a total side of things here, we have It's sitting at 133 flat. This opened up at 135. So we have a 2-point move to the under, and it is juiced to the under at that number. And then cash flow, we have, we have 39% of the tickets, 44% of cash on the under. So the over is being bet by the public, but the line's moving towards the under. And from a spread perspective, 38% of tickets and 45% cash on these Blue Hens. Take it away for us here, Mikey Money, your second game on the board, Blue Hens, Tigers in the CAA.
Yeah, I don't think this is the revenge spot. In fact, I love the value we're picking up on Towson with this one here, specifically because if you look back in the last 2 games coming off that loss against Towson, they were Delaware, was a 2-point favorite, right? They lose that game on their turf, 67-56. You mentioned it wasn't close from the hop of that thing. And it was the way that they beat them that was just so all-enveloping, I guess, is the term I would use in there, and saying, yeah, they whooped them up on the road. They outshot them. They out-rebounded them. They had 6 more turnovers in that game. They had 9 steals in that game out there. They just owned them. That was boys against men in that situation. And, Delaware gets motivated after that. Granted, they go out and they beat my Bill and Mary, my William and Mary, the green and gold, 81-53. They smacked them, but that was a little bit to take some of that frustration out about how they were just covered with the blanket and stymied. They go out there and they take down Monmouth in their own barn. They don't cover that spread, though, and I think it's a little misleading when you look at it saying, well, they've picked up 2. The best part here about Towson is coming off that loss, they were stringing together wins against everybody in the top of that conference, and I love this fact here that it softens that number up for us on a home spot. After they beat them so soundly, this number should probably be like 6 or 7. And, there's no look-ahead spot here. You look at this conference and where things rank right now, it's Delaware and Towson in 4 and 5 in the conference. However, because Towson has the edge, they're only 1 game back of the lead in this conference. It's a 7-3 record to the 6-4. They don't want to let that slip up, and they are a 10-0 at home. 7-3 over their last 10. So the edge, I feel, in this game simply is just a team that's more outmatched and capable. Furthermore, when you look at kind of who's on deck next for Delaware, for Towson, there shouldn't be the look-ahead factor in this game. Unlike that Temple, Memphis game there with the Tulane Green Wave on deck, this team here's got with Towson has Elon on deck next. No one's looking ahead to Elon. They're 3-7 in the conference. They're 5 games back. They're just on their way to the bottom, and it's going to sink like a stone. So I think Delaware is going to get everything Towson has in them this game, and I think that's a scary spot for these boys because they already took everything they had on the road. This is one of those opportunities where I do want to take advantage of the double dip spot here. It's simply because Towson, we did this with Troy yesterday. We had a team that was just boys versus men. I don't know that it's entirely boys versus men in this matchup, but Towson's got 17 first half wins in their last 18 when they're at home against a non-conference opponent. They start strong. They're going to take that lump that they got against Hofstra and know they can't slip up to kick things off in this game. And this number falling for me means I'm going to get an even better price on this first half. So I see 1.5s out there for this first half right now. And it's a little juicy at -115. I'm not sure what kind of numbers you can grab on this first half for me, Jimmy, but I'm double dipping first half and full game.
Well, let's see what we can get you first half. I also have Pinnacle up, so we'll be able to see both here. We got I do not see 1.5. So if you can grab that,
let me see.
There's nothing offshore at 1.5. In fact, I can't get you
-115 for the 1.5.
All right.
Fuck it. You know what? The 2's -108. I'll take the 2 at mine. Can you beat a -108 on the 2?
No.
-2 at 108.
-2 at -108, and then the -4. You don't see any 3.5s left, do you? I see -4 at -105.
BetMGM has a 3.5 at -110. So we'll take that 3.5 at -110.
Let's do it. -3.5 at -110. Mikey Money, you are locked in. Let's move on to the next spot on the board for Mr. Money. We head to the Metro Atlantic. Iona Gales, 11-10, 6-4 in conference. At the Niagara Purple Eagles, 12-10, 8-4 in conference with the Gallagher Center. In Niagara Falls, New York, Iona's now won 3 straight. They, beat up lowly Siena on the road. Then they came home, beat Fairfield by 9, and just squeaked by Ryder 94-93 on Sunday. Niagara played on Tuesday. So they played at home, though. They won 69-64 over Canisius. It was their second straight win, fourth in 5 games. It was that loss to Manhattan in overtime was the only blemish on this card here. Niagara 8-4, so they're 2.5 games back of Quinnipiac on top of the ledger, and Iona with a rest advantage. Let's take a look at the line history then for this next spot on the board for our Mikey Money. We have, make sure I'm not on first half. Okay, full game. Okay, good. We have Iona right now sitting as 2.5-point favorites here. They opened up at 2, got up to 2.5, dropped to 2. They're a half-point move towards them right now. And from a total side of things here, we are dealing with a here we go. We are dealing with a 147. This opened up at 148.5. It dropped all the way down to 146. So we had a 2.5-point drop here. And then when we get into the cash flow for this one, we have 86% of the tickets and 85% of the cash on Niagara. And from a total look, we have 43% of the tickets, 78% cash on the over. Take it away here for us. Iona Gales at Niagara Purple Eagles.
Kind of a weird spot with these numbers. I look at this Niagara team here. I don't understand why they're a dog here on the home court. Maybe that's a red flag for some people, but it's not going to be for me in this situation. I'm looking at Iona, and they're still one season removed from Rick Pitino being the guy, and I think that's relevant here because you have to rebuild the program, you have to develop your culture, or you're just going to take over somebody else's. And Rick Pitino wasn't there long enough to develop a culture. He was coaching over there in Euroball, kind of serving out his punishment for the greatest recruiting techniques in college basketball. But, they punished him. They banished him over to the Euroball. He went out there and he won a championship there. He comes into Iona. He's firing. He puts him out there into the NCAA tournament for like the first time in their program history. But the thing for me here is they're leaning heavily on one guy. It's their junior out there, Greg Gordon. Guy's gone for 63 points over the last 2 games. The challenge for him, though, it was Fairfield and Ryder. So they're putting up a boatload of points, but it's one guy that's kind of the horse out there. On the other side of things, they've got a freshman guard in Jeremiah Quigley, who had to step up because of, Treadout's, I think it was his knee that got hurt there. So he stepped out of the program. This freshman has come in there, and he's been kind of playing lights out. 17 points or more in 3 straight games as well. But I think the challenge now is you're coming into a balanced program in Niagara who's got the home court advantage. And, this isn't a weekend spot where these guys get the benefit of the travel and they can deal with it how they have to here. This is a midweek travel spot for a team that's, midweek Thursday, close enough, I guess. But, when it comes down to it, Niagara, great opportunity, 75.3 points a game. They shoot efficiently at 47.6. And their defense is pretty bland there at 75.1 points a game. But you mentioned that conference record, and I think that's significant here. They've won each of their last 7 night games as well, so that's a big factor for them. They're comfortable at home. They're not in the travel spot, which I think lends to that advantage. And, again, when you look at the scheduling with these 2 teams, Iona and Niagara are kind of stack-packed right on top of each other. So Niagara, again, with the advantage here. Not the greatest home court record at 5-6, but I just think in terms of the balance, they've got multiple double-digit scores. And right now, if you look at this Iona team, you can fall in love with the 94 against Ryder and the 91 against Fairfield, as I mentioned. But go before that, they Siena, 70 points against Siena on the road. Against Quinnipiac, they get themselves 87, but they took the loss in that game on a number that kind of indexes very similar here at a +1. So I don't think the price is right for Niagara. I'm going to take advantage of the +2.5. I see it at -110. That number is plenty good for me. I was debating the double dip on this one, but honestly, my thought process with these 2 is I want to take a money line on one of these 2 dogs that we just talked about in Temple at +240. Just seems a little juicier. So I got a little side note for it and whether or not I'm going to circle back to it. But one of these guys is going to get a little double dip from a money line perspective. We'll see how many games we end up with at the end of the card.
I like it. Niagara +2.5. We can cut 2 cents off that from our guy, Billy Friedrich, -108. 8 is the looks like we can snag you for this one. So let's get that all set up for you. I don't think
I wanted to go with the first half, but Iona's just been so good against the conference in the first half. I believe 6 of 7 for them boys. And on the flip side of things, Niagara has not. So, they've lost the first half and I believe 7 of 9 at home. So I don't believe it's the home court advantage. I don't want to get greedy with this game. I just want to snatch this victory here with the 2.5 in my back. It's a bucket type of game. That's fine.
And we can get you the minus 105 with Niagara. It's interesting because I had the same option with Providence yesterday. I could have had Providence +2 at minus 110 or money line at plus 120. And when it was plus 120 on the money line at Bet365, it was only plus 108 at Pinnacle. I was like, I can't spend 30 cents on 2 point. I mean, that's just ludicrous. So, and it worked out. Rocco Rogers saying, yep, Iona is a first half team. And let's roll on. Oh, wow. Cody Norton saying FanDuel's hanging a plus 3.5 at minus 120.
That's okay. That's okay. My evaluation, just like you talked about with the cost, that means that point is worth 15 cents. And I don't think a point's worth more than 10 cents. So
that's why I took the plus 120 because I agreed with that.
What up, Joe T? Good to see you, my guy. Rocco, Billy, thanks for shopping for us, Billy. I just, when you start pricing them at that, when FanDuel puts the better numbers out there, I never like those spots either. So that's just a pricey point to pay for it and spot that I think they win outright. So I'll take the bucket in my back pocket that it does come down to a last basket type of thing. But the implied odds and the index on that thing just don't add up for me.
And it's helpful, Cody. Thank you. So thank you for letting us know that, though. It's very important and helpful.
I think that's a good exercise in terms of evaluating whether or not you take the point, right? We're not just here to, we'll give you the plays that we're on, but as you guys walk away for weekends and things like that, and you start looking at some of these things, you think they're going to win. That point shouldn't be worth more than 10 cents. For me, it's a pass. It keeps the ROI better check. And ROI is so important. If you're going to the casino and you're putting that money down versus being on a credit book, that means you're going to get more money back in your pocket. So take the opportunity to get the more cash where you can.
I love it. And your average line this year on our show in college basketball is plus 100, which is very impressive. So let's roll on. 7 p.m. Eastern next up. Our guy Jay Smooth, who you could run with in Pub Up Palooza. He has the smooth balls play of the day. Samford money line. Samford Bulldogs 20-3, 9-1 in the Southern at the UNC Greensboro Spartans 17-6, 8-2 in the Southern. We're in Greensboro, North Carolina for this one. Samford's won 3 straight and looked pretty good doing it. Beat East Tennessee State 75-72 on the road. Came home and just squeaked by Wofford, and then they demolished Chattanooga on the road, just smacked them up. And they were 1.5 point dogs in that one. It was a very impressive performance by the Bulldogs. Greensboro 1 game back of Samford, and Chattanooga 1 game back of UNC Greensboro. So Samford being able to go in there and smack it up, very impressive. Very, very impressive. Over for UNC Greensboro, their only loss of recent was at home versus Mercer. Now they played Wofford too. They destroyed them. Unlike Samford, who just squeaked by. Then we saw them step up against Chattanooga. They're coming off an 89-87 win at Furman. So 2 straight road wins. And they had trouble getting past VMI, who is an atrocious basketball team. But they've won 2 straight. 1 day rest advantage for Samford. Nothing too big. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have Billy Friedrich liking Samford money line, but says it's just a lean at this point. So, and Von Polo says, what's your favorite play for the birthday pick? Yes, we will have a birthday pick for you for sure. We just want a little bit more time here, just to at least get through the college basketball card. Then we'll ask both Daby Cab for a birthday pick, and we'll also ask Billy Brisbane, who's joining us for NBA. But here we go. Samford at Greensboro. Let's see what we're dealing with line history-wise here. And that would mean here we go. So from a total perspective, we have a 151. This opened up at 152.5. Got down to 151, got back up and back down. So right now we have a 1.5 move towards the under. And from a total side of things here, from a spread side of things, we have a UNC Greensboro -1 at -115. This opened up -1, got up to 1.5, back to -1. There's been a 5-cent move towards them. Maybe it's not the best example. Why don't we go to the money line and see what we are dealing with here on the money line for Greensboro at BetOnline, sitting at -120. Bovada hanging at -110. This opened up at -125. There's been very little movement. 5 cents of movement towards Samford. Let's get into the cash flow. I think this will be telling. It's not, unfortunately. For the money line, we know that is 52% of the tickets are on Greensboro. We don't know the cash flow. From the spread, 39% of the tickets and 55% of the cash are on Samford. So you got some bigger bets there. And then on the total, 43% of the tickets and 87% cash on the over. And yet this has dropped 1.5. So some confusing market moves, but maybe Mikey can shed some light. Take it away. And again, the smooth ball play of the day. Smooth balls. I imagine he's got 2 of them. He has called it the smooth ball play of the day. I don't want to get too caught up in that. I imagine he's just missing an S, not missing a testicle. Take it away for us here, Mikey. The floor is yours. Bulldogs, Spartans.
Well, you got to keep them smooth, and that's a very important point of clarification. Is it one?
Unless you're, married and a father of kids, because then you just let go. You just let go. You let go.
You can braid it at some point. It doesn't matter here.
Weird
spot when you look at these numbers. And, Samford is an offensive team. I get why you guys are sitting there saying, Samford and, maybe taking that stab on the money line. But this should be a red flag when you look at these numbers, because this team is clearly the more efficient offensive team in scoring 10 more points a game than UNC Greensboro. They shoot more effectively at 49% versus 46%. The big challenge for them, though, is where they get a little leaky on the defensive side of things. They allow 75 points to Greensboro's 70 points. So that's where I think the big difference comes into this play. We know that Greensboro ranks 8th in the country as far as 3-point percentage on the season and effective 3 points made, where Samford also ranks very highly in that category. However, the big difference being that home versus road split in this spot here. Home favorites in the Southland Conference, 138 and 124, and they're sporting an average line of a 10. So here's another situation that's very similar to what we saw with that Temple spot, where the average number that we're seeing against the line that we're getting right now doesn't balance out. And that's where I think there's value. They're 80 and 68 as the average score that we're seeing in that sample size of almost 260 games. So a significant advantage, in my opinion, for the home court. And it makes sense because, again, the sight lines being different. I've talked about that before here. Certainly at home, Greensboro 9-1 straight up on the season. And I just talked to you guys about the price of that extra point on FanDuel in the last game. I'm going to go to the money line on this game here. So if you talk about these spreads and is it making sense as far as not seeing a ton of movement, we are seeing movement on the money line. Now, it's not a ton of movement, but this line opened up for Samford at -106, and it's now up to +102. So we've seen 8 cents of movement on that side of things. Then you look down at the money line. Sometimes when you see that little bit of movement, you'll see the money line here opened up at -113. The red flag would be if that went down to -110, but it is moving to that -115 as well. So I look at these two, and I can get the -1 at -108, or I can grab this money line at -115. There's that 7 cent value for the point. So we just said 15 cents is too high for the point. Now I'm looking at this thing with the 7 cents saying, well, I get the outright win if it comes down to a 1-point game. I'm going to pay 7 more cents for that point so that I don't get a push, that I get the opportunity for the outright win. Hopefully that makes sense. It's kind of how I went and broke that thing down. But for me, I think this is a spot for Greensboro at home, the stronger team when it comes to their home court opportunities. I get Samford 12-9 on the season against the spread. But for a team that's as effective as they are at shooting, it's a bad scheduling spot. They just came off that spot against Chattanooga. They had to put their all in there because Chattanooga's kind of barking on them on the doorstep there. 2 games behind now, first place in that conference. And they've got another road game coming up against the Keydets. So potential fatigue factor setting in here. I know they had a couple of days off in between these last 2, but definitely a gauntlet in terms of the challenge spot. And, this 3-leg spot, I think, is the opportunity to fade them here right in the middle. They'll probably come back and kick the shit out of the Keydets. But today I'm going to go with this Greensboro money line. I think they can get the job done. Also, if this team gets it done, there's 3 conferences where the home favorite has that decided advantage that I just talked about, the 138 and 124. There's the Southland, the Mountain West, and the Pac-12. There's 2 other games that fall under this criteria tonight. So things go well in this Greensboro spot, you maybe apply the same principles to Oregon and Colorado for some later action.
It's strange. This is minus 125 at bunch of offshores. It's also minus 107 at Pinnacle. Pinnacle as Samford is slight favorites. I'm shocked to see that. In fact, I would like to take a closer look at what line movement they've had in this one. So they opened up Samford minus 103, and then 38 minutes ago, they had an 11-cent move towards Samford. Interesting. Very, very
Good.
Interesting. Shout out to Ricky Bobby, upgrading his membership to PSR Gold. He will be in tomorrow's horse race. Ricky Bobby in. Thank you for supporting the channel, man. Respect. And thank you, man. Ricky Bobby, upgrading his membership to PSR Gold. So minus 107 is what we can give you over at Pinnacle. I want to see what the hell Pinnacle does with this, because everything else I agree. I just agree with you here. I think that was a outlier performance, an anomaly against a good Chattanooga team. And they're just going to do this on the road again. I think you're asking for too much, personally. So I'd like to join you on this, but I might wait to see what Pinnacle does. Because at this point, you might be able to get
an even better number. You might be able to turn it into that plus 100 or plus 102 by the time tip-off rolls around. But, for now's purpose, I just think a spot was a difficult travel situation for the Samford team. We know their numbers, but the advantage that Greensboro has across the board in that 3-point category, home or road, versus Samford, and now they get their home court to their benefit. I think that's where it makes that big of a difference, is because they're home. So take advantage. Let's
like it. I like the spot. Let's move on. Next up, we got a big one. We head to the Big Ten for the next spot on the board. Iowa Hawkeyes 13-9, 5-6 in conference. At Penn State Nittany Lions 11-11, 5-6 in conference. Bryce Jordan Center here in University Park, Pennsylvania. Take a look at the situation here. We have Iowa's won 2 of their last 3. Beat Ohio State at home. That was last Wednesday. Right? Yeah, last Friday. And we were on Ohio State. We got the cover. They told us how, Ohio State doesn't cover on the road, but we don't trust Iowa. And we got the cover. We got the cash there on Friday. So they've won 2 of 3, but they haven't looked great doing it. I mean, they won at Michigan, lost at Indiana. They lost at home to Maryland. So they've lost 3 of 5, but they have won 2 of their last 3. Penn State coming off back-to-back road wins. They won at Rutgers 61-46. Then they won at Indiana 85-71. They're playing good basketball. Iowa has the extra day of rest. Both these teams in the bottom half of the conference rankings here, both sitting at 5 and 6. So this is a crucial game for either team if they want much extra activity here after the conference tournament. So let's take a look at the line history. First off, we have a very high total sitting at 162. This opened up at 164.5, and it got down to 161.5 before there was a half point of buyback. So we have a big move towards the under. And then from a point spread standpoint, I'm on money line. So let's move over to the point spread. And here we go. From a point spread standpoint here, I guess we need to go back to the money line once again to understand exactly what's going on here. This is listed right now with Iowa -1. They opened up at -1.5, and then it became a pick'em, and then they moved again to -1, and then a pick'em again this morning, and then back to -1. I think we'll get a better idea if we go to the money line. So let's do that. From a money line perspective here, we have it sitting right now with Iowa at BetOnline at -118. They opened up at -118, and they're still there. So why don't we just take a look at what Pinnacle has done here with this money line, as they were way off the last one, and they're way off here as well. Wild. So they opened this up. This is so wild. Look at the difference that we're getting from 2 books. Pinnacle opened Iowa up at -106. So they're exactly where they opened at -105. This got to -114 around midnight. It's come back. So yes, different prices, but both have had no movement. So let's take a look at the total the cash flow here for this one. Get over to Penn. Sorry. Here, God. All right, let's take a look at the cash flow. We have on both the spread and the money line, the bets are coming in on Penn State. On the money line, you got 74% of the tickets and 83% of the cash. No real movement. On the spread, you have 58% of tickets and 75% of the cash. Then on the total, you have 60% of tickets and 75% cash on the under. The market is following that one. So there's my guy, Tori Coker, in the house. Ron Gray says National Iowa Day, Iowa money line. Earl Sports says the model has Iowa minus 1.27, says no play here, and DC Capper on Penn State. Take it away for us here, Mikey. Hawkeyes, Nittany Lions.
Yeah, I got a model play for you, boys and girls. Don't worry about that. We'll get to it in due time, but don't think I'm crazy when this thing ends up first half tied and Penn State wins the game at plus 2,500, or the game goes to overtime at 10-1 as well, plus 1,000 spot out there. But this is a great opportunity, I think, for Penn State in this game. Iowa, that last game with that Ohio State factor, 79-77. Yeah, okay, I get it. But kind of look at their situation and their lack of stability right now. They're in that zigzag lose one, win one type of spot there. They lose to a Maryland team at home. They go on the road and beat that Michigan team. Everybody was beating Michigan until last night, and then we took that W. They go back on the road again. They lose to that Indiana team and then barely beat an Ohio State team. On the flip side of things here, Penn State, look at this recent opponent game. If you want to play that little ladder challenge, they just whooped the shit out of Indiana in their barn, 85-71. And it wasn't even pretty in that spot. And I think this one comes down to, the offense is kind of middle of the road for Penn State. They obviously had an explosion of points. Something kicked in, but they have done well on the road. They got the 2 road games out there, 61-46, showed me that they can play defense against a team in Rutgers who's, not shabby in the conference. And then going out there and beating up Indiana 85-71, you put the 2 of those together and you should easily handle this team here between the offense and the defense. You should easily handle this Iowa team. And, as far as kind of what they're playing for out there, yeah, not the greatest in terms of the record, but they're going to go on the road against Northwestern and they finish off against Michigan State. They're still in the battle in this thing. I know they're not ranked great. They're in the bottom of the conference, but look, they still have the opportunity to be relevant, improve their seeding a little bit. And that's going to mean a hell of a world of difference because it goes from playing Purdue or Illinois to potentially playing Minnesota or Michigan State. So they're going to get everything that they have to throw at them here. We know that Iowa does have that high-octane kind of style of offense out there, 81.3 points a game over its last 10 games. But I think the defense is where this game is going to make the difference here. And home court means a factor, not just in the Big Ten, but if we drill the microscope down and look at this game, Iowa, Penn State, the home teams won the last 6 in these spots out there. And, Penn State, last 9 games have been fewer when it's non-ranked opponents. They're less than 157 points. So they're playing that defense. We're seeing it shine through. On the flip side of things, we're seeing that, as far as Iowa, they're a little bit leakier when it comes to their total points being scored on the road. So also I like the first half in this one. Iowa, first half spots out here in the road games. They have lost the first half in 5 of 6 road games against non-rankers. On the other side of things, Penn State's won the first half in 8 of their last 9 when they're at home. Home court means something. I told you there's a model angle to this thing as well. Big Ten away favorites in the conference are just 7-12 against the spread. Here's why I say tie. The average number in those games is 75-75 as far as the score. That's a 19-game sample. Big Ten home dogs are 29-10 in 39 games that they've had this sample out there. The average score in those games, 72-72. So there's a couple of scenarios where I have intersecting overtime looks, not to get crazy and, be a greedy pig about it, but it's certainly worth a sprinkle. And I like this first half and full game. I'm going to double dip these 2. I think this is a great spot for Penn State to handle these boys on their home court, starting off strong. And, flip side of things with Iowa, do they concern me as far as their ability to come out there and play strong? No, they're 9-13 against the spread. I'm going to dismiss what they do out there and expect Penn State's offense either boom or bust. But hopefully they'll come out there and boom and not bust on me.
We can get you to minus 105 full game. And then first half, we can get you minus 110, it looks like. Minus 110. Yes, that is the best we can get you, minus 110 at Will Hill. Does that work for you?
Yeah, well, I'm sorry, what was the first half?
First half, minus 110, full game, minus 105.
Let me just double check
See if we
on
can
my
beat that.
side of things. We'll keep it rolling with the brisk pace here, but I just want to make sure I'm not leaving any dollars and cents on the table. Minus 110 sounds good. We can tee up the next game, and I'll just I see minus 102 out there for the full game.
Beautiful.
And the first half is minus 110 is good for the first half.
All right, let's grab it.
Let's roll.
Big news here in Raptorland. Dinwiddie for Schroeder. Heads up, man. It's you when you're a coach. It must be so tough when you have guys like Schroeder. Because when he's on, and when he chooses not to be, he's no longer the MVP of the World Cup, bringing his country glory. He's fucking useless, and you never know. He's just invisible at times out there, like they were saying for Kuzmenko. I need to study the situation a little more, but I certainly, I have no problem when and Masai's really good at this. When they say, "Look, we made a mistake," ship him out. You know, it's Billy Friedrich says Schroeder has to be an asshole. Wears his welcome out everywhere he's being. He has to be. Billy's right. He has to be. But
there's certain guys you can just look at and you can tell like they're a dickhead in the locker room. You know, they're the guy that's
Well, I used to tell everybody about Terrence Ross because my brother-in-law used to work at the arena and all his friends did. They all got jobs at the arena after high school. And they would make mixtapes for their favorite players. And everybody would be so gracious, you know. But Terrence Ross wouldn't take it. It's like, no, I don't want it. And the kid's like, I spent a week on this. I put so much time. I got music, I got everything to all your plays. And he's like, I don't want it. Don't give it to me. I'll throw it in the garbage. I was like, oh, okay.
Asshole.
Oh, all right. Okay. Iowa, Penn State first half and full game for our guy. Slow Jam says, didn't he miss out on the big money contract? $82 million.
Yeah.
He said no to, and then signed a $2 million contract afterwards. So,
I love to see the guy bet on themselves and win, but I think even more, I like to watch the guy bet on himself and lose like that. You asshole.
Well, we're gamblers. We know there's both sides to the coin. All right, let's roll on. That concludes 7 p.m. action. We're going to get into 8 p.m. action here. And some fun spots here. So we're going to stay in the CAA, but then we got the 2 Pac-12 games after. So we got Arizona, Utah, Arizona State, Colorado after. Then we head to the WAC. We close it up in the WAC with 2 games there. So let's roll. Next up, 8 p.m. Eastern, North Carolina A&T Aggies, 7-16, 5-5 in conference. At Charleston Cougars, who've been good all year. TD Arena in Charleston, South Carolina, 16-7, 7-3 in conference. Let's get back to point spreads and full games here for the line movement and set up the situation here. The Aggies have lost 3 of 4. They won at home versus Hampton last Thursday, 59-58. And then on Saturday, they lost at home to Elon. They lost to the Phoenix, 69-65. They've lost 3 of their last 4. Then Charleston bounced back from that loss to UNC Wilmington, 80-74 at home by squeaking past William & Mary on Saturday, 84-83. They've also won 3 of their last 4, while A&T, North Carolina A&T, has lost 3 of their last 4. And the exact same rest situation both teams played on Saturday. Take a look at the line history here for this one. This will be a little easier because we got 8 p.m. action. And why did I say that? Here we go. We have Charleston as 21.5 point favorites. Huge at 21 at Bet Online. This opened up at 19.5 and a move to 21. It took a while, but a 1.5 move after the line had been out for 19 hours. So it just happened this morning. Then from a total side of things here, we are sitting with a 156.5. This opened up 156.5, got up to 158 before there was buyback. So now it's exactly where it started, 156.5. Marcus McCarthy says updated trade summary: Schroeder and Thad Young. I kind of like Thad Young. Raptors get Spencer Dinwiddie and Dennis Smith Jr. Well, I have no interest whatsoever.
I'll tell you, all that Raptors movement's concerning me about my little nugget there. Scotty Barnes rebound under has been a fucking gift that keeps on giving. It's just an auto play. He got there again yesterday at 7.5. They moved him down to 6.5 after they made the OG Anunoby trade. They moved him down to 6.5, and he was still cashing like a cow on that thing. They bumped it back up to 7.5. Now they got all these guys back in. We're gonna have to see what I might have hit that thing 18 to 20 times.
Rem Most, how old do you think I am? When I say mixtape, I don't mean an actual cassette. The fuck? You think what I'm 75 years old here? Back in my day,
back when we had
used our pencils.
The 8-tracks. Dude, my buddy used to go to. My buddy used to falling in love with strippers, and when I lived in Philadelphia, he would make him mix CDs, and we were roommates at one point. And I was like, "What are you doing, dude?" He's like, "I can't." We were playing like FIFA or something on PlayStation, and I was like, "Come on down." He's like, "I can't. I'm busy." So after like an hour, I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm making a CD." I was like, "Who are you making the CD for?" And he drops the girl's name, and I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you? This girl doesn't want your CD, you asshole." Put all this time and effort into it, and then you can see her face. She was like, "Oh, thanks." When he gave it to her, still couldn't tell him not to give it to her, but sometimes you got to let them walk their own story, you know?
Wow. That is wild. Kent Davies used to record shit on tapes. Look, we all used to record shit on tapes, but my brother-in-law is 8 years younger than me. And, look, we were all DJ Skip and Search at one point in our lives. But let's get back to this spot here. Cash flow. All we have is cash flow on the spread. 52% of the tickets, 70% of cash on Charleston, and the line has been moving in their direction. Take it away for Kent Davies says, a man who makes a CD for a woman is a broken man.
He was broken. All right.
Well put. That's well put, Kent. Well put. So here we go. Take it away for us here. Aggies, Cougars in the CAA.
Yeah, somebody Slow Jams is saying, do I think the revenge factor will hit more? I think for some teams, yeah. I mean, it's hard to say given the circumstances and kind of, like I said, who they have on deck and how that team's performed after the fact. And, for me, we've already talked about a number of them that have some revenge spots where I'm not concerned about it, and others where maybe I am a little bit more, and more so the revenge on who they have coming on deck. I've used that example, I think, in a couple of different ways, but I used to not really take too much into account for the revenge because they got to come out and play every day. They're not just going, oh, it's this team, now we're going to play harder. I mean, you kind of have it or you don't. That's why I look at how they're coming into those games in the recent sample, not so much an extrapolated view of the entirety of the season. But I think in this case here, I don't have very many. I just talked about the auto play with Scotty Barnes as I lead into this one, but NCAA is an auto underplay for me. We cashed on him like a week ago. I think we double dipped him, and the under was a smoking under. I think it went under by like 30 points. It was a comfortable under out there. And I think we lost the side on that thing. They just rolled over, but 14 of their last 16 night games against the conference have gone under the number at 156. And we're flying in the blind again because of this MAC or mid-major type of situation. But, as far as the blind is concerned right now, we're still seeing the lines kind of come down a point from the original number. So something's going on somewhere that even though they're not showing us the tickets, we're still seeing this being an under situation. I think this is a blowout. This is a rout. I'm going to be surprised to see UNC A&T, these bunch of fucking farmers, get themselves to 60. Their average on the season is 68, but Charleston's going to I think Charleston's going to bludgeon these guys. It's a lot of points for Charleston. I'm not comfortable laying, a 20 spot like this here because it does kind of seem like that backdoor, something stupid's going to happen. And all of a sudden they win the game by 18. But, I don't think they have a problem getting to, I don't think Charleston has a problem getting to even 90, but as long as we can keep that UNC A&T in that case down to 60, this should be an easy cover for the under. And it's 157.5. We've been cashing away on it. It's in the model. It's something I've been tracking for a long time. And we're starting to see these numbers continue to come down now. 157s are no longer there. It's now 156.5, 156s, 155.5s, and it's continuing to drop. So you got to take it now. And if you can get me better than 156.5, I'll take it. But I'm still good with 156.5.
Let's see what we can get you here for this total. There are 156.5s out there. Can we get a minus 110 on them? Let me just see here. Yes, we can. 156.5 minus 110 is the best that we can get you. So let's lock you in. We have Mikey Money on the under 156.5 at minus 110. Let's roll on. By the way, Justin McKelvey officially on 49ers money line parlayed UNC Asheville and the 49ers last night for 250. I love it. It's going to be a stressful Sunday here live. So if you aren't going to a Super Bowl party, fuck them. Party with us right here. I'm going to be nervous, dude. It's just how do you go in confident against Mahomes, man? Let's roll. Next up, we have the big one on the card. Now, our Dabber Cadabra also going to be talking about this spot, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to go back-to-back Pac-12 games here. We have the number 8 ranked Arizona Wildcats, 17-5, 8-3 in the Pac-12. The Utah Utes, 15-7, 6-5 in the Pac-12. Dan Kelly says, so the line moves half a point to Cleveland with Dinwiddie gone. The Nets are a live dog, says Dan Kelly. I wonder if they could possibly play some defense, but we'll get into that. Watching the Nets is really tricky. There's just so little defense being played. Okay, we're at John M. Huntsman Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. Let's set this one up. This is the big one on the board. We have Arizona winners of 3 straight. They went into Oregon State and lost 83-80. Bounced back by beating the Ducks in Oregon, 87-78. Then they won at home versus Cal. They smashed them 91-65. And then they squeaked past Stanford on Sunday, 82-71. Maybe, double-digit win, maybe not squeak past. The Utes, on the other hand, have been winning at home. They beat Oregon State, then they beat Oregon. Sure, they went off to the Washington State, lost there, lost to the Huskies by 25. Then they came back and beat Colorado at home. Team can win at home. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have right now, BetOnline has moved this to 5. This opened up at 5.5, got it to 6. It's bouncing all over the place. It's at 5 right now, but easy to get 5.5. Curious to see what Pinnacle has done with this one. Pinnacle has this at 5.5, juiced to Utah slightly. Then from a total side of things here, we are sitting with a 160.5 at Pinnacle, juiced to the under. At BetOnline, we are sitting here with a 160 flat. Heritage has moved it to 159.5. This just moved an hour and a half ago to 160, a half-point move towards the under. So let's get into the cash flow here. 63% of the tickets and 75% of the cash is on Utah. This line is not moving. 70% of the tickets, 70% of cash is on the under. Take it away for us here, Mikey. We have Utah Utes, 15-7, just 6-5 in the Pac-12, trying to stop the 8th ranked Wildcats.
Not surprised that Dabby's involved with this one here. This feels like the Dabby Cab special, and this is a challenging spot for these boys here. Arizona is going to have to come on the road where they have been suspect. And they're going to have to play against a team in Utah that's been dominant at home, has not lost a game at home. If you look at their situations where they did take a couple of L's, there were some neutral court spots out there. And, we've seen just when it comes down to it with these guys, I think there's a little bit of an overrating factor. Somebody asked earlier, do I care? Do I think the revenge matters in this spot? I think the revenge matters in this spot, not so much from are they going to lose sleep at night if they don't get this W, as much as the altitude, the elevation is going to make the difference here. And that's why I believe these teams, and that's what this conference in itself is difficult. Because if you look at, going up to sea level in some spots or down to the desert level, there's so many elevation changes there that the topography of the entire West Coast comes into play with this thing here. And I think that's going to be a factor for this Arizona team. You look at that last game, I get it. They shot lights out Utah and they still lost, but they were on the road in that situation. And you're bringing them back home, 92-73 to start January off. Bad loss, no doubt about it. And Arizona's won the first half in 21 of 22 games against unranked opponents. Everything says this should be an Arizona spot, but I just feel like this is too many points. Utah ranks number 4 across Division I teams for, getting opponents to the foul line out there, the opponent free throw percentage. That's not a stat you want to be tops in the nation in, but nonetheless, the Utes are 15-7, and they have down some opponents out there. You look at some of the guys that they beat. They just took care of Colorado. We'll talk about them in a minute, but for the meantime, a 3.5-point favorite, and that home court is where I think it makes all the difference here. UCLA, they smashed them at home 90-45. UCLA is kind of shit anyways. Oregon State, they destroyed them 74-47. Oregon, who's kind of one of the perennial powerhouses here in the Pac-12, 80-77, all on their home court. Clearly they struggle on the road, but the big factor for me, you look at some of these things here. We got ourselves a couple here. We got the after Stanford posse. I talked about some of these before, and there's a series of teams where you've just played this team and you lose that next game. And Stanford's one of those teams that falls in that bucket. They're 50 and 163 after a Stanford game out there. For whatever reason, that posse of teams, 50 and 163. That trend had 3 straight losses yesterday behind it as well. The average straight up spot is 98 to 151 in that example as well. Their average score 75-71. I expect this to be a lower scoring game, but I think the Utes are very much a live dog here at the 6. Conference home dogs, when they're unranked against a ranked opponent and they have rest advantage, are 310 to 213 against the spread. And again, the average line sitting there is about 3.2. So we've got certainly, I think, a mispriced opportunity to capitalize on. I love the 6. I was debating, do I even want to come in there and think they can win this thing outright? Arizona, 3rd in the nation out there in points per game. They're scoring a ton. 2nd out there in rebounds per game. Those 2 factors in themselves kind of pulled me off of the money line, but I'm comfortable taking the 6. I'm going to take that and run with it there. I think, they're in a good spot here to come out and cover their home court. Again, tight game. I think the Utes have kind of slowed down in terms of their offense, but I think they're going to surpass this Robbie Worcester and Brandon Carlson situations that they have going on here and find a way to get the cover for us.
You got a 6 somewhere?
I did this morning.
I don't have one.
Check and see where.
The best I can get you is a 5.5. Billy, do you mind? I didn't want to write this out, but do you mind giving us why you're bullish on the over, and then within that, Mikey, why are you not on the under? But first off, can we get, because the best I can get you is plus 5.5 minus 109.
Sorry, I was looking. I think 5.5 is where it is now. Usually, when I see this number with Caesars, they're a little slow to update here with the refresh. So I'm comfortable with that here. But I like the points. I don't want to double dip this. I like to play in the mud here with these mid majors. You know what I mean? I like to get involved with these things. I'll shine up here for one of these big games here, a high profile game, because it'll be entertaining. You can only watch so much shit basketball before you have to watch something better. And I think this will be a good game to be a part of and take advantage of there. But I just thought the side was the stronger look there. I'm certainly not against the under. Some guys that I know are big on this under as well. I just felt like this is a spot where we could see this thing get tight, and that number is tight enough. So I just thought the more value lies with the side than it does the total. Overall, I've got those strong trends that kind of support this situation with, that after the fact situation and the conference home rank situations. There wasn't enough margin for me in those totals to want to jump into it, but I get it. I mean, I see what happened with that Utah, that last game. We saw this before. I forgot the game. It was just last week where I think the previous time they played, it was like 83-81. And everybody was jumping. Was it the NCAA game? And everybody was saying over. And the thing smashed the under. That's just a pace that they can't keep up with here. And I wouldn't use that last game that they played. I mean, at this point now, it's a month ago. That was like first start of the conference play. I wouldn't let that deter you or be the reason that you're saying the over in this game. You should have some more concrete evidence behind it. But not for me. Just a 6.
Stacks play today. Utah Utes plus 5.5. Mikey on Utah plus 5.5 minus 109. Lot of love for Utah in the chat, but Billy Friedrich on Arizona minus 5.5 and Rob Free on Arizona first half. And we'll hear Daby Cab talk about this spot as well. Let's stay in the Pac-12 for the next spot on the board. Arizona State Sun Devils 11-11, 5-6 in conference. The Colorado Buffaloes 15-7, 6-5 in conference. We are at the CU Event Center in Boulder, Colorado. More trades coming in. Thank you for letting us know about them, North Ender. Mavs getting PJ Washington. Hornets get Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first rounder. So more moves happening. Slow Jams Arsenal says our little Abilene Christian at 67% hit tonight off a loss as a fave. Slow Jams. That is the final spot on the board that we will touch in the WAC at Climate Pledge. Oh, they don't play. I don't know why I always list Climate Pledge for Seattle. I know they have played games there, but let's roll on here. Arizona State, Colorado Buffaloes here. Let's see what we have at BetOnline. This opened up at minus 12.5 and has moved to 14.5, a 2-point move towards Colorado. Then from a total side of things here, we are dealing with a 148. This opened up at 148. It got up to 150. before it, only got up to 149 before it dropped to 147.5. So we have it with no movement. The total is with no movement. Dan Kelly says, shit, Dallas got better with Gaff and PJ. I agree. That is helpful to that front group. It's going to be fun going over all this after the show. Let's get into the cash flow here for this spot. We have, wrong way. I thought I had it set up for this one. We have no movement on the total, but a legit move towards Colorado. 51% of tickets and 40% of the cash on Colorado. So that's interesting. 49-60 for Arizona State, but the line's not moving there. And then total wise, it's basically a coin flip. 47% of tickets, 54% cash on the over. And when we look at the last rest situation, Arizona State, losers of 4 straight, just lost at home to Stanford and Cal. They went on the road, lost by 19 at Oregon and by 13 at Oregon State. And Colorado has lost 2 straight. They lost at Washington and at Utah, and that came on the heels of a really impressive victory over the Huskies. So they get back home where they have been dominating opponents. Do they dominate here? Take it away for us here, Mikey. Colorado Buffaloes at home to the Sun Devils.
Yeah, they got to want this game. This one's got more than just the conference to play with this thing here. They've got the opportunity. Some of these mid-major programs, so much fun to get involved with because they only get 1 tournament bid. So they're not automatic spots and they have to win the tournaments to get it done. But you kind of, mosey on out of there and you get yourself a spot where, we do have multiple tournament bids in play at large schools and things like that. So that's what I believe Colorado's playing for here. And those back-to-back road losses have to be avenged. Not just that, but it is a revenge spot as well. And so we've talked a little bit about that and where it plays a part. The challenge here, the reason these teams have the advantage is because they're at elevation versus a flat Arizona State spot that's got to be somewhat near sea level, right? I mean, I know they're not necessarily near the sea, but it's got to be pretty fucking flat in the desert. And we got Colorado coming home off of 3 straight road games with a couple of days of rest in their back pocket. So I think it's time to go out there and smack these boys up. Arizona State ranks near the bottom in all the offensive categories you need to have to take advantage of here. 331st in 3 points, 323rd from the floor. They rebound like shit. It's just not a team that's going to go out there and be able to hang in with these boys. They average 68 points a game while Colorado's sitting there at 81. That's a tough margin in itself. And then factor in that Colorado does have this home court advantage, and that 81 points a game is spread across their entirety of the season. Factor that in with the fact that Arizona State just gave up 81 points to Cal on their home court. 2 teams, I think, are trending in different directions. Yeah, we see the Buffaloes are 9-11, but again, a strong home court team out here. And here they are humping around right in the middle of the pack. They got a 12-0 home record, 6-5 in the conference, but they're really just 1 game out of this thing. I know it says 2, but if you look at kind of who's in front of them, they're 1 game behind Oregon. They're 1 game behind Utah. Actually, they're tied with Utah in the overall scheme of things. And these are some perennial powerhouses in the Pac-12. So I think Arizona State's going to catch everything that Colorado's got coming off those double losses, coming off the revenge spot. And I don't think it's a fuck around situation here. I think they come out in this first half, they get the job done. We will double dip this one as well. I believe the first half number I saw was 8s. I'm not sure what you guys see out there now, but I think this is one of those spots they can't afford to start slow. They can't afford to be, kind of dilly-dallying here. And once they build that lead, I don't think they look back because of how inefficient Arizona State is on the offensive side of the ball. We have reverse line movement as well. So I saw this number open at 12.5 late yesterday. It's now up to 15s in some spots, even though the bigger cash is coming in on Arizona State. That's another check mark for me to say, let's go with this Colorado team.
Oh, I agree. They got high on themselves after the Huskies win. They've come back to earth. Now they come home and they need to smash and grab. I really, really like this spot for Colorado as well. Full game, the best we can give you is a -14.5 at -107 over at Pinnacle. Let's see what we can give you a first half. But I will join you. And I even think it's double dip worthy. Just in case here, because I think
both sides of it. Like if they do come out with that kind of lackluster start, then you want to see them go out there in the second half and bang, and vice versa. If they start out hot, there is that opportunity. It's getting a loftier number, but I still think Colorado wins this game by probably 22, 23 points. I don't think this is going to be close. So I like investing the money on the double dip. So we will rock and roll. I think that's going to be a nice little banger.
And first half, the 8.5s. at -110 are leaving. So you have them now, but they won't be around for long. Let me know if you can beat that, but that's the best I can do offshore.
Our guy Billy's got first half 8.5 at -108. So we'll take every cent we can get out there. There's going to be one of these times where I drop in a -130, but generally speaking, we don't roll that way.
All right, let's roll into the final two spots on the board before we're joined by Daby Cab. Next up for us, we head over to the WAC for the last two games. Tarleton State Texans 15-7, 8-3 in the WAC. Utah Valley Wolverines 9-13, 4-7 in the WAC. Orem, Utah for this one. 3 straight wins for Tarleton State here, coming off a 75-64 home win on Saturday over SF Austin. They were 1.5 point favorites. They won by 11. They took over in the second half. They're going up against Utah Valley Wolverines, losers of 3 straight, just got beaten badly at home by Grand Canyon, who's at the top of the conference. 2.5 games back from them is Tarleton State. And then Utah Valley, 6.5 games back of Grand Canyon. That was their 3rd straight loss, and it was an ugly one. They played much better when they went to Grand Canyon. Well, a little better. So there we go. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. Sorry, I'm on first half, so let me just quickly switch over to full game. Let's take a look at the line history and the cash flow and then roll. We have Utah Valley now 3.5 over at Pinnacle. 3s are around. And at Bet Online, we have a 3 at -115. So -3, -115 on Utah Valley, a 0.5 point move towards them. And then total wise for this spot, let me move over here. Total wise for this spot, we are dealing with a 137.5. There's opened up a 136, so we've gone up a 1.5 move towards the over. And when we take a look at the cash flow here for this one, come on. Here we go. 71% of the tickets, 77% of the cash on Utah Valley, 67% of the tickets, 82% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Mikey. Utah Valley Wolverines at home versus Tarleton State Texans.
It's going to be a difficult situation to determine which is going to be the ugliest game I have on the card, but this one might qualify simply because I know the general perception, the wrong team's favored in this spot. Tarleton's so great and this and that, but I know they're 15-7, but look at their situation right now. It's Grand Canyon that's leading this conference and then everybody else. So everyone's getting tuned up by Grand Canyon, including this last spot that we saw Utah Valley come off of here. What did they lose? 86 to 67. They weren't even close in that thing out there. But, then you look at some of the other kind of conference, the teams in the middle. That was a revenge spot. They lost again on the road 78-65. So got worse out there, but know they can take advantage when it comes to this opportunity. It's the Jimmy the Bag trend there. We've got the team that's lost 3 times in a row as a home favorite, 174 and 163 overall. We went 1-1. We split those games yesterday in that spot, but I think in this situation here, the average line in those numbers is 6. We're underneath that spot, so I do see there's some value in the number itself. And Utah Valley plays well at home. You look at what they do at the UCCU Center. They've won each of their last 7 games out there, getting the job done. And when I talk about why this game's going to be, I think, ugly, it's because of, I think, a couple factors. First of all, pace. These guys run one of the worst paces in the country collectively. It's not like one side or the other is really dominant out there. Tarleton State averages 93.2 points per 100 possessions on offense. That's good enough to put them at 224 in college basketball. And not much better on the other side when it comes to what's going on with Utah Valley. 87.7 points per 100. Good enough to rank them 320th. So slow is the go in this one. But, you look back at kind of where I think this big factor is, that coming back off of those losses. They've got themselves the strength at home. And Tarleton, they don't play a lot of the heart and inspired type of basketball. They're not good at defensive rebounding. They get real sloppy with their hands and the fouls when they do try to rebound. That's probably why they don't rebound as much, because they're just not technically proficient at getting the job done. And on the other side of things, Utah Valley does rebound well. They do limit those points. And that's why I was trying to make sense of the number. And, given the standings with these two teams, this one just seems like a big red flag. Vegas wants you to take Tarleton in this spot with the 2.5 points. They're saying there's no reason you shouldn't be taking this. We do have the correlated movement, though. We've got the bigger numbers coming in on this Utah Valley side because the game's won here by the paint in this case here, limiting teams that take poor chances on sloppy play and then not giving them a second chance to get the job done as a recipe to cover this game. I don't know about comfortably. I think it's going to be a tight game. But again, the scoring differentials don't favor really one side or the other. They're just slow, and slow with the situation where you don't rebound can get away from you quickly. The home court advantage. The two guys that we need to say F you are Ja'Cory Smith and Lou Williams. Those guys run hard. They're the number 1 and 2 scoring guys for Tarleton State. But outside of the threes, they're not doing really much else besides that. They do a lot of 3-point shooting. And, that's a challenge when you don't rebound with those second point shots. So I'm jumping in on it. I'm all in for this spot here. The number should be a red flag if you're thinking Tarleton. I'm on Utah Valley. Let's kick some ass.
I like it. I like this. This is clearly a number that would be appealing to anybody who wants Tarleton. Very appealing. And then it moves more in Utah Valley's direction. I think it's saying everything right there. Don Play, I have no what's the right way to say this? Not sound like a dick. I don't know if he's going to kick it, and I am going to spend 0 seconds studying it. 0. I can promise you I'll put 0 seconds into it. Let's move on to the final spot on the board, 10 p.m. Eastern. We have Abilene Christian, 8-13, 3-7 in the WAC at Seattle, 13-9, 6-5 in the WAC. Let's take a look at this spot. Last spot on the board, and then Dabra Cadabra comes and joins us. I thought I had it set up here, but let's move over to our action here at 9. Is it 9:30? This one? It's at 10 p.m. We have Abilene Christian as a double-digit dog right now. It is. I think it's moved to 9.5, but we'll check that out. They just lost at home to mighty Tarleton. Abilene's worse than Utah Valley here. They were 1.5 point favorites. Abilene Christian. And it went to overtime. Abilene Christian came back in the second half, but could not seal the deal against the Texans of Tarleton State. So that was the last time we saw Abilene Christian. For Seattle, they've won 3 of their last 4, and they almost beat Grand Canyon. They lost 95-88 at Grand Canyon. They lost in overtime. They played tough. They'd beaten Grand Canyon at home, so they showed that they can beat good teams. They also played Cal Baptist, winning 61-60 in Cal Baptist. That was one of their 3 victories over the last 4 games. Abilene Christian with a 2-game rest advantage. Take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Abilene Christian opening up at 8.5, and it quickly went to 10, and then there was buyback to 9, now 9.5. So we have a 1-point move towards Seattle U. And then from a total side of things, we are dealing with a 144.5. This opened up at 141.5. It has climbed 3 points. And we go to the cash flow here. Get over to the 10 p.m. games. We have no help. 96% of the tickets so far out of 1,604 have come in on Seattle. 96. No other information, no money, nothing on the totals. Take it away for us here. Mikey, your final spot on the board in the WAC. Who you like here?
It's funny. I laugh about the fact that we're flying in the blind with some of these numbers because I do believe in that movement and the relevancy behind it as the number kind of correlates. But Abilene Christian +10 is -110 right now on DraftKings. And, a lot of action on the card. But if you kind of look at the way I segment it down as a side note, they're in slots. They're in time slots. So, if you're trying to manage the bankroll, you can do a couple of 7s, cash those in, flip them to 8s or 9s, flip them to the 10s so that you can kind of cascade these numbers and have a big night at the end of it. But difficult to go out there and lay all that action. I was saying to Jimmy last night, I got a lot of action. The bankroll is stretched here. And we're going to do it again tonight, though. I think it's a good opportunity in this Abilene spot. You look at the numbers, there's no way Abilene Christian gets this job done. Seattle's just too dominant. They're too strong at home. What's going on here at 9 and 11? But this almost feels like enough. There's a reason why, guys like Jimmy there that kind of look at these spots where people would shy away from, kind of salivate and lick the chops. When you look at the numbers that correlate to it, a team that's off of back-to-back home losses as a favorite roll back out in that third game, and they're 114-67 against the spread. The average line they're catching in those spots is 1.2 points. So we got ourselves 8.8 points of benefit on the side. The average score, they're winning those games 72-70 after that back-to-back situation. So we've also got another factor that kind of correlates with why you want to take on, Abilene in the spot here. It's the after a Tarleton situation. There's a little posse of teams as well. I don't put so much stock into these things now because of the conference, but after you've played a team like Tarleton, there's a couple of them in the bucket, but 80-25 against the spread, catching about the average line there is a -1. Winning those games outright, they're 68-37 on the old money line in those spots. So this is just a situation where this team's bad and they're getting a ton of points. But historically, we see that doesn't matter because they're still finding a way to come back and get the job done. And this is the spot where I believe, you just got your shit kicked by Tarleton, but they were a 2-point favorite. And now you're going on the road. Maybe that was the look ahead for Seattle, and they had this game circled. And if you look at what Seattle's done in the conference, they're a world beater when it comes to playing at home. They're 11-2. They play a strong game at home, but they're still sitting 4.5 points back because it's Grand Canyon's conference. So everybody's in play, despite the fact that we've got an Abilene Christian team that's 3-7 in the conference. But that's only 3 games behind as they close this conference down to be in that second place spot. So I don't know if they go out there and win the game outright. They've lost 9 of their last 10 against the WAC. So, they stink in the conference. 13 of their last 16 games have gotten over 145 points because they don't play a lot of defense out there either. And they lose a lot of first half. So there's not a lot to love about this Abilene Christian team. But, kind of go back to the old story. You want to be on a spot where you got 98% of the cash? Hell no, you don't want to be in there. And the numbers that I shared there that support, there is this opportunity to pop these guys in the mouth at a +10 in a spot where they're winning games outright. I understand they've lost 5 of their last 7 games, and against Seattle being those dominators when it comes to being at home. I'm going to take the shot, though. I know, again, failed to cover the spread in 5 of their last 8, but these numbers and these trends kind of supersede what you see with your eyes. They kind of supersede the eye test because there is enough history and story behind them here. So, are they going to look ahead in this spot? I don't believe so. I know they've got, when you look at what's going on with Seattle, Tarleton's on deck. They want that Tarleton win. I don't think they give a shit about this Abilene Christian win. Wouldn't surprise me if we see a little kind of Detroit Pistons action style tonight where there's just a weird scheduling spot with things on deck and they're a live dog. Now, that's a lot of points, so I'm not going to go out there and drop it on the dog. I just think there's an opportunity for them. At least it's now moved to 10.5 as well. So everybody's steaming on this Seattle side of things. There's no way, to quote our guy Razor Sharp, there's no way they don't cover this spread there in Seattle, Jimmy, but that's exactly why we're going to jump in with Abilene Christian. Close the card out. We'll take the 10.5 now at it's -115, but we'll take it anyways. We've been good with our juice.
10.5 at -115 for Abilene Christian. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting spot here. I'm going to take more time because it does. Pinnacle's moving in that direction as well. But I see what you're seeing in that spot. Let's review action for Mikey Money. He's on Temple +7 at -105. I expect to be on that as well. He's on Towson first half -2 at -108 and full game -3 at -110. He's on Niagara +2.5 -105. He's on UNC Greensboro -107. I'm very interested in that spot. Although we'd be going up against Jay Smooth Ball's play of the day on Samford. He's on Penn State. First half -110, full game -102. He's on the under 156.5 in North Carolina A&T Charleston, and he's on the Utes. So is Justin McKelvey, Utes +5.5. I'm very interested in joining the squad with the Utah Utes at home here. I expect to be on it. He's got the double up on Colorado, something I would like to be a part of as well. Utah Valley -3. I'd like to be on that. And he closes up his card with Abilene Christian +10.5. Mikey, excellent work, man. That was a hammer spot there. Big, juicy card for you. Get that cash. What's going on Last Call tonight, 6 p.m.?
Oh, yeah. We still have some other sports to get into as well. But, we had a monster night last night, another winning day on the show. NHL has continued to be good after the All-Star break. I think we are now, I want to say 7-2 this week post All-Star break in the NHL. So things are heating up on the ice, and we've got the NBA as well. So we're going to have a lot of fun tonight. We got our guy C-Mac rolling in there as well, our Thursday guy that's going to come in and contribute and help us get that cash. He's going to have college basketball plays for you too. I need the relief after that. There's not much left in the cupboards for college basketball. really try to scrape all the meat off the bone in that one. And we'll do it again, though. We're going to have a lot of fun tonight, 6 p.m., last call here, Pub Sports Radio. Shout out to everybody out there in the chat. Justin, Rocco, Philly Eagle Flyer, DC Capper, Smoking Tree in the house. You guys know, give you the shout outs again later today when I see you. Daby Cab as well. Good luck on him. If he's head to head, he's going to need it. Jimmy, I'll see you again soon, my guy. Let's get this cash.
Be well. There he is, Mikey Money in the house. We roll on our next guest off yet another winning night last night. Look at these records that the squad's putting up in college basketball. Mikey Money hitting at 56.4% plus 11.41 units. Daby Cab hitting at 57.1% plus 5.59 units. Daby Cab's ROI now plus 9.98%. Mikey Money's is plus 11.30%. They are absolutely rolling here. Please welcome from Dallas, Texas, star of Medicaid Mondays and a live stream, as well as our Saturday college basketball live stream, coming to us from Dallas, Texas, Mr. Daby Cab on the show. Daby, how are you, my man?
Oh man, I'm good, Jimmy. I'm good. I'm glad you guys got to eat some waffles yesterday. I'm a little frustrated I missed out on that one, but I'll still take a positive day, man. 2-1 will work for me. Shout out to our guy Mike, man. I'm glad he ran that record up. But his little comment at the end there, Mike, you just need to know one thing. When that day comes, I will still be right here climbing.
You I don't know if it was StreamYard or Mikey Money, but he paused you there for a second, at least on my end. Good, saying Daby Cab the GOAT. Daby Cab running hot. Daby, can you give me the reply once more to Mikey Money?
Oh, what I said? Oh, my bad. Yeah, I said, hey, when that day comes, I'll still be right here climbing. I mean, it's cool that you bet 38 basketball games a day, but I'll be right here when that day comes. I'll be right here.
All right. Well, let's get it. Get it. Here we go. We have 2 big spots for Daby Cab, and we've already touched on them. So the first spot on the board for you, Daby, 7 p.m. Eastern, Memphis Tigers, 16-6, 5-4 in the American. Temple Owls, 8-14, 1-8 in the American. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And Mikey Money gave us Temple plus 7 and minus 105. What is your plan here for this American spot with the Owls at home versus the Tigers?
So talking about this game, Memphis is one of those teams. It's always been that way. Just one of those teams that people love to hate. But, in reality, even with that 4-game losing streak, they're still sitting at 16-6 on the season. I mean, that was a rough patch there. Only 7-15 against the spread, though, so they're not really making anybody money. Temple on the other side of that, though, they're in the same position, 7-12 ATS or 7-12-2 ATS on the season. This is a spot where the Tigers coming back after winning that last game against Wichita State, that was their first win in 5 games. They needed it badly, and they got it. I think that's going to give them a little bit of momentum here. They're seeking, consecutive wins. And I talk about that 4-game streak. Before that, they were 4-0 in AAC clashes before they dropped those 4. And they were playing good basketball. Outside of conference, they played some of the top teams. They actually challenged themselves, unlike some of these teams in this conference. And I think that confidence with Wichita State's going to boat over. Temple just struggles. They've been stumbling all season. They've lost 7 games in a row. They've lost 3 games at home in a row, straight up, not even just ATS. Straight up, they've lost 3 at home. And Memphis is just a superior squad, hands down, across the board in every margin that you look at. They're averaging 11.4 more points per 100 possessions than Temple. You look at Temple right here. They're pegged at 274th in D1 and adjusted offense efficiency. Just not good. And then you look on the defensive side, they're not much better. Memphis is conceding 5 fewer points per 100 possessions also. I mean, just like I said, across the board, you're going to see a lot of disparities here. I will say this, though. I'm not comfortable laying the spread with Memphis full game. We're going to take this. We're going to leave it where it's at right here, and I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do with this game after we talk about Arizona, because I got 2 bets that I'm going to give you guys today, and 2 of them are going to go together, this Memphis and Arizona.
All right. Well, let's move on to the next spot on the board, one we just spoke of. The number 8 Arizona Wildcats at the Utah Utes. Wildcats 17-5, 8-3 in conference. In Salt Lake City, the Utes have been very good. Stacks play today from Justin McKelvey is on the Utah Utes, and Mikey Money ran with them. So what is your plan here at Daby Cab, Wildcats, Utes?
12-0 is an impressive home record, man. It's not something that I'm excited to, be on the other side of here. But you just look at what Utah's been doing. You said it, 15-7 on the season, only 6-5 in Pac-12 play. And the reason they're only 6-5 in this Pac-12 play is because they began to stumble. Their offense was soaring at the beginning of the season, and they're still 12-0 at home, like we said. But they've just fallen constantly. Their offense have gotten worse and worse every game this season, it seems like. And I know Utah's going to be out for revenge, right? They lost that first game to Arizona by 19 points in Arizona. But like I said, Utah right now just ranked 4th in the conference in scoring offense. They're 4th in field goal percentage, 4th in three-point shooting. So it's really going to come down to Utah's defense in this game. So one thing I want to do here, Jimmy, and I want everybody to think about this, especially if you haven't bet this game yet. There's few situations that line up like this for me where I really feel good about it, and I'll openly say it. A&M was one of those spots yesterday with Missouri, because I don't know if you remember talking about how poorly A&M shot that first time against Missouri, but they still won. It's because of rebounding. I'm telling you, if you shoot 33%, but you get 3 fucking opportunities every time you have the ball, that 33% is a whole lot more, right? This first game, Arizona versus Utah did better in most aspects of the game. Utah first forced 17 turnovers, okay? They got Arizona to turn the ball over 17 times. You look at some of the other things that they were able to do in that game. They shot decent. They were shooting over 40% in the game. And Utah still lost by 19 points. How do you lose a game by 19 points when you force 17 turnovers and you shoot at a higher percentage than the other team? You get out-rebounded. And I tell you one thing, A&M isn't somebody I expect to shoot better. Arizona, 100% expect them to shoot better this game than they did in the first game. And if they continue to get those rebounding and second chance opportunities, you're just talking about 2 teams that aren't on the same playing field. It's plain and simple for me. So I'm going to take Arizona here in the first half. I got a -2.5. I tweeted that out last night. But what I'm also going to do is I'm going to put the money line in the first half for Memphis together with the money line in the first half for Arizona, and that's going to give you a nice +133 spot right there. So I got Arizona ATS in the first half, and then I also got them on the money line with Memphis on the money line in the first half, and that'll give you +133. You could probably get better because I'm going to be honest, I get shit odds sometimes at my book.
Well, let's pop that in for you here at Pinnacle. The Arizona.
Hold on. Look, let's be clear, North Ender. You're talking about like roulette right now, okay? I understand that 33% is always 33%, but if you get more chances at that 33%, you're going to hit it more. So come on, let's not split hairs here, bro.
Arizona and Memphis money line. That Memphis game at 7. Sorry, let me grab this here for you. We have, come on. Here we go. That will give you a +128 live. You can get a +133 live right now.
I did it earlier, so +128 is what you got now. I'll take that.
Arizona first half, Memphis first half. Memphis first half at +128. And these first half money line bets have been very successful for you here. Small sample size, but very successful. And we know that they've been successful for you long term with your action. So there is Daby Cab. Arizona first half -2.5 at -110. And then the Arizona first half, Memphis first half money line parlay at +128. Billy Friedrich says, everybody on Utah, what could go wrong? We've been watching this and I've been tracking it.
I just want to say this too. It wasn't just the turnovers. Utah hit 10 threes in that first game, and they still lost by 19 points. I'm telling you, they hit 10 threes. They forced 17 turnovers. I don't think they're going to play any better than they did that game. That's all I'm saying.
No, I hear you. I mean, the change of venue is what a lot of people are banking on, and we'll see how that bangs out here. But I hear you. Arizona first half -2.5. Arizona first half and Memphis first half money line at +128. Coming off yet another winning day yesterday for Daby Cab. 0.02% away from a 10% ROI here on the show. Great work, Daby Cab. Get that cash, my friend. And any last words here for the Cappers supporting the show, my guy?
Oh man, it's all love, Jimmy. Me and Mike go back and forth and talk shit because it's fun. But one thing I gotta say is you're not going to find very many places like right here on Betting with the Bag where you have, your host who's just absolutely dominating in college basketball. And then like yesterday, you had 3 people come on and, I like to be included in that, but Mikey's killing it, man. C-Mac is killing it. Just absolute domination, man. And I'm proud to be a part of it. I love capping with you guys. I love capping with you guys in the chat also because I learn so much every day from y'all. And I want to see y'all at Pub 3, man. I'll see y'all at Pubapalooza 3.
There he is, our guy, Daby Cab. Thank you for running with us, Daby, my man. All right, that is our college basketball breakdowns. It is time to get into NBA. So we need Billy Brisbane, who's been in the chat rocking with us. Sorry, we're a little bit later than I had expected. Billy Brisbane making his second appearance here on our show, and we love capping with them. And we have a big, juicy NBA card here. Yesterday, 1-1, cashed with the Pelicanos easily, lost with the Spurs. I'm not going to take Spurs on the road anymore full game. They'll only be first half bets. And we have that situation here. Now, this is a very difficult situation. Trade deadline day still has an hour and 23 minutes left. So we need to go over all of that. All of the moves here, and that's what we will be doing. Earl Sports says, passing on NBA today, not going to gamble on who's getting traded and who is not. And Pacers down to -5.5. I got to buy off of it, North Ender, I think, but we'll talk about it here. This was my big, giant concern was that this was going to happen. And then what we have here is also Kobe Bryant Day, the statue coming out in LA. So there's just so many different moving parts around. So let's bring on the star of today's NBA programming. And we have back to graphics. We got graphics here. So let's get this all set up. Please welcome from South Jersey. We haven't had enough opportunities to rock with your next guest. Love having him here. Please welcome Mr. Billy Brisbane to the show. Brizzy, how are you, my guy?
I'm doing good, man. Injury news. I mean, not the injury news, the trade deadlines today. So we'll try to pick and choose our spots wisely. But if you see me looking down, it's probably because I'm getting another update on my phone.
Yes, a lot going on here. Thank you, Dan. Says, got to help a friend put up a new TV. Good luck, boys. I learned the hard way that having kids is a problem around expensive TVs. My TV, done. Sucks so much. Rob Free says, don't touch those Warriors. Bad idea. No stopping Turner tonight. Siakam owns us. This is just real fishy, but let's get right into it. Here we go. And I didn't want to bet it. And when I was betting it, the 5.5 moved to 6 while I was betting it. So then I didn't bet it for an hour and a half and just sat there staring at it. Heritage moved at 6.5. And this makes me very nervous. Golden State Warriors 23-25, 10-12 on the road at the Indiana Pacers 29-23, 17-10 at home. Gainbridge Fieldhouse in Indianapolis, Indiana. These Pacers are 2-3 over the past 5, playing the 7th fastest pace in the NBA, 101.20 possessions a game. Warriors 4-1, playing at the 10th fastest pace, 100.80 possessions a game. Warriors coming off the second half back-to-back. They defeated the Sixers 127-104 last night in Philly. I know Smoking Tree and BJ, a lot of you guys were moving on the Warriors, and you got rewarded financially. This is a final game of their 5-game road trip. And the interesting thing about the game was nobody played over 28 minutes. 13 players saw the floor in that one. So this isn't a tired Warriors squad, but are they ready to come home? Pacers coming off their second straight win, 132-129 at home versus the Rockets on Tuesday, and they play the Knicks on Saturday night at the Knicks too at MSG. But we've not seen a lot from the Pacers over the last week or so that would inspire a ton of confidence in them. When I moved on this, there was 98% of the money on the Pacers. Money's been coming in on the Warriors though for all morning. It's now 32% of the tickets and 38% of cash on the Golden State Warriors. So money's been coming in on them. 35% of tickets, 62% cash on the over. Take a look at the line history here for this one. I pop this over here. And of course, we're going to need
the line opened up around like 3.5. And then after the games came up on the board last night. It went to like 4.5. Then immediately people were buying the Pacers. It went up to 5.5, as high as 6.5. Now back down to 6.
Well, there's a 5 now at Heritage. So there are 5.5s there. I don't see any. There's a 6 at my bookie. That's the only one I see right now, and that could possibly be stale here. Wine Time says this is a stay away game for him. Slow Jams Arsenal says Pacers overvalued since Halliburton is back. Rocco Watcher says he wanted the Warriors at 6.5. Doesn't like it much at 5.5. Let's take a look at the what's gone on with the total. But for Pinnacle, this opened up at 6.5 at Pinnacle at 6:30 this morning. This was, I bet it at Bet365, and as I told you, while I was doing it, it moved from 5.5 to 6, which always really, really irritates me. That couldn't have been, 3 minutes faster. From a total side of things here, we have a 249. This opened up at 250.5 and went all the way down to, I guess it didn't. This opened up at 250.5, got down to 248.5 before it climbed back up. So take it away for us here, Brizzy. Our first game on the board, and. BJ says, remember what I said yesterday, but no bet for me. None of the starters played in the fourth yesterday. Still, it's a road back-to-back, but I, would have preferred not moving on this. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. First game on the board, Warriors at Pacers.
Yeah, very rarely do you see the books kind of really pricing in this rest advantage, and it's definitely a Pacer spot in my opinion. But there's a superb tax to it. Golden State's playing their third game in 4 nights, 5 games in 7 days. All the games have been on the road. They've won actually 5 of their last 7 visits in Indiana. They covered one of those spreads though. But no starter played more than 30 minutes last night, like you guys said. It's more of a full game spot than a first quarter, first half spot. Halliburton seems to have his minutes restriction closer to being lifted. Played 29 minutes versus Houston. That was the most that he's played since his return. But just off the fact that the Golden State Warriors are in a playoff chase and they're desperate for wins right now, they're live to cover the spread, but I can't get there, man. The only reason why I can't get there is the Pacers are limiting teams in three-point shooting. Their opponents' three-pointers made are at the lowest in the league. That's kind of how the Warriors play basketball. They shoot a lot of threes. The Pacers let up a lot of jump shots, like elbow, free throw line shots, not really three-point shots. I just don't see the Warriors. The certain matchups that I like in this game for the Warriors are more player prop centric. I feel like Draymond Green's 18.5 points, rebounds, and assists prior to last night's blowout against the Sixers. Draymond's gone over his points, rebounds, and assist line in 7 straight games, 7 out of his last 9 games since returning from suspension. Jonathan Kuminga has been the hot commodity in the prop market. His point prop tonight's at 19.5. This is a good matchup for him. The Pacers allowed the most points to the power forward position and the second most points at the rim. And then I feel like the bookies are pricing in about that Pacers opponent 3-pointers allowed in this matchup. They're the lowest in the NBA, and Steph Curry's 3-point line's at 3.5 tonight. I mean, that's really fucking low for Steph Curry. Despite the low frequency, opponents are hitting 37.9% from deep. Steph has averaged 4.8 3-pointers in no days of rest, 5.1 3-pointers made in 8 games so far this season. So it's more of a player prop game for me. Maybe catch a live line on the Pacers if they go down. But this is one where I just see the bookies. The bookies already have this priced at a certain point where you're kind of betting into the unknowns.
Yeah, I should have just been calm and waited here. I'm sitting on the Pacers -6. I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it. Now, I am happy that this line could be moved. You could say, well, Pacers traded Buddy Hield, so he's take Hield out of the lineup. Then
Buddy Hield doesn't count. You need Benedict Mathurin. Benedict Mathurin's been playing the best basketball of his career this last couple of weeks. I mean, he's the main scorer for the Pacers off the bench. He leads the Pacers in bench scoring.
Yeah, I don't think the Pacers need Buddy Hield, but if you're trying to explain the move, it's now 32 and 38. When I bet it, 98% of the cash is on the Pacers. So at least there's been a big move. There's been like if we were sitting here with 88% of the money on the Pacers and it moved back to 5.5, I would buy out of it right now. I'd buy out of it immediately. So, Buddy gone and money moving on the Warriors. So at least you can explain this. So We will, and he doesn't play any defense, saying Von Polo. Don't forget birthday picks for Von Polo here as well. And Troy Torrance says the opener in this game is what is important. Well, let's move on. I'm dealing with the Pacers -6. I've got to deal with it. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, the San Antonio Spurs 10-41, 5-20 on the road. Orlando Magic 27-24, 15-7 at home. We're at Kia Center in Orlando, Florida. So I have 200. I wish I had more, but I had $200 on the Magic to win the division at 10-1. And you don't know this. You don't have it in front of you. So let me ask because it interests me, and then I had to dive deeper into it. What do you think the Miami Heat are right now to win the division? What would be your guess?
Plus 475.
Well, the Heat are the favorites to win the division.
Oh, I was gonna say, if they're the favorites to win the division, I mean, it's got to be close to like even odds. I just don't think the Heat are that good. Like they're a team that you bet on when the playoffs start and the play-ins start. You don't bet on them in the regular season.
Well, after watching how bad the Magic have been, I know that they had injury issues. I was surprised to see the Heat at -140. I thought they'd be -210, -220.
I think that's shockingly way too high. I mean, the Heat.
So you think the Magic are going to win the division?
I think the Magic have the ability to win the division easily. Yes.
Well, I was shocked. I've watched this Magic team not look good and the Heat destroy them. One thing is they don't play again for the rest of the year. And two, the Magic have played 22 of their 51 games at home. So they have a bunch of easy opponents coming up, and I was surprised to see it. I would like to guarantee $500 or $600 on this division bet. I don't want to sit here and expect the Magic to come on down the stretch. I expect the Heat will do that. I was surprised to see the -140 myself. And I'm going to look to hedge. And I know it's just $2,000 on the other side, but I just do not expect the Magic to deliver. But they have the Spurs tonight at home. They have the Bulls on Saturday. Von Polo saying Magic got the easiest schedule for the rest of the season. Yeah, I went over it. So I'm going to try to find the spot to hedge here. But let's get back to this spot. Spurs 0-5 over their last 5. Second half back-to-back after suffering their 5th straight loss, 116-104 at Miami last night. Orlando had their 3-game winning streak snapped, a 121-95 loss in Miami on Tuesday. And this is game 1 of an important 4-game homestand. Should they be this big of a favorite, though? This 10.5 right now is juiced towards the Spurs. So there's been no movement on this line. This did get to 11 for a little bit this morning, but at this point, there's been 7 cents of movement towards the San Antonio Spurs. Then from a total side of things here, we have a 224.5. This opened up at 226, a 1.5 move towards the under. When we get to the cash flow here for this spot, we have it's 50-50 on the ticket count, but 64% of the cash on the Spurs, and then 53% ticket, 62% cash on the under. And, that was an ugly, ugly loss at Miami. And they should
have covered that spread. I was watching that game late. After the Heat took out the starters, the Spurs made a late run, and they only lost the game by 12.
Oh, yeah. No, the Spurs were fine. They had scored 10 points through the first 8 minutes of the fourth quarter. They put together a 3-point barrage, which I despise. I'd rather just lose like a man, not get. Oh, what? Oh, shit! Am I gonna?
Did you watch the game?
No, I had the multiple screens going, and I just had the ESPN.
It's wild how they just don't throw the ball to Wemby every play. It's like if Vessel and like Keldon Johnson are like jealous of Wembyama, because it's like he should. Yeah, the way he dominates any game is just ridiculous.
Well, this was whatever. It was a loss is a loss, but take it away here. What do you want? Is there anything that you want at this point? We've heard nothing from the Magic. I don't believe they've made any moves. Has anybody heard of moves that they've made? I have not heard of any moves that the Magic have made. Right now, they're a healthy group. So you got Fultz, Suggs, Wagner, Banchero, and Carter is your front five. They should be able to take care of business, but it's just too many points. Take it away for us here. Spurs, Magic.
All I gotta say is if you're starting off this game by betting it, get your phone, call 1-800-GAMBLER. This is not a game you should be throwing a lot of money on. It's hard to bet the Magic pre-flop, in my opinion, in this spot. They smacked the Spurs in the first meeting, 108-98. They covered a 6.5-point line. The main key in that game was they were able to score 62 points in the paint, which is higher than their season average of 52.4 points in the paint. And this number kind of feels a little bit too big for San Antonio, in my opinion. They lost by 12 to Miami, the 16 to Cleveland, and since January, 5 out of their 14 losses have only been more than 10.5 points. To me, that kind of reads as like Spurs live dog here, as like you're watching the game and you see the Spurs line go up to 18.5, 20. I take the Spurs, but the vice versa. If you're looking to bet the Magic, I'd probably bet it first half. But this is a game I would not bet. Because as the Orlando Magic team, are you really too stoked to play against the San Antonio Spurs? No, but I mean, they're coming off a smackdown loss against Miami, so they're definitely going to want to start off this game hot. So that kind of leads me towards the Spurs as a live spread bet. I would not bet this game pre-flop. If you bet Orlando pre-flop 10.5, you're going to be fucking looking at the book every 5 seconds like, why is this line moving? Why is this line moving? This is just a game that I just feel like the bookies have this one priced correctly. But live betting wise, you might be able to get a better number on it.
Justin McKelvey looking at Magic team total over 119.5. And that's something that, excuse me, that is something that Nutflush Allen's been doing. He's been taking the team totals against anybody playing the Spurs, and he's been making a lot of money off of it. I think it's an interesting look, Justin, against the Magic. So I think it's a very interesting look. I'm going to put that here.
I just wouldn't bet this game. I said this to Dutch last night. We're on All About the Hoops, and right before the stream started, he was sweating the Toronto Raptors and Charlotte Hornets, and we're smoking. I said to him, why the fuck are you betting the Raptors and Hornets on a fucking Wednesday night? This is a 1-800-GAMBLER game. And he was like, nah, you're definitely right. I don't know why I bet it.
Yeah, I mean, I love bum fights, and I've never felt that way.
I like bum fights, but this is not a bum fight at all.
Well, there's a one bum in it. You know, I think every game is an opportunity to make money. I've never felt that way about bad teams playing against each other. I think that if less people want to gamble on it, it's more appealing to us. But
I will agree with that.
Let's roll on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Cleveland Cavaliers 33-16, 15-8 on the road at the Brooklyn Nets, 20-30, 12-15 at home. We're the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. Cleveland rolling 7 straight wins. They're on the second half back-to-back. They did not look very good last night at Washington, beating them 114-106. Brooklyn comes in off their second straight loss in third and 4 games, 119-107 at home versus the Mavericks on Tuesday. And then who is going to be out on the floor? I mean, they've made a bunch of trades. So, none of the guys they brought in are going to be available. We know they're dealing with a ton of injuries. So who the hell is going to be playing for this group? It's a tricky spot here. Let's take a look at the line history for this one and take a look at the cash flow. Making moves on trade deadline day is very dangerous. Got to proceed with caution. Here we have Brooklyn right now at plus 6.5. They opened up at 6, so there's been a half-point move towards them, just a half-point move. And then from a cash flow side of things, 224.5, or sorry, from a total side of things, 224.5. This did go up at one point to 226, but back at 224.5. And then when we look at the cash flow for this spot, we have, here we go. We have 47% of the tickets, 49% of the cash on Brooklyn, 58% tickets, 83% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Brizzy, Cavs, Nets.
Shouts to Mike in the chat. He says, I called 1-800-GAMBLER. They put me on hold and I placed a bet while waiting for him. I thought that was a funny comment. But this is a Cleveland spot. They're on a 7-game win streak. I mean, they've been rolling right now, straight up and ATS. They're healthy. Brooklyn kind of looks like they're in disarray. They traded Dinwiddie and O'Neal prior to the trade deadline. Their starting lineup tonight is going to be Dennis Smith, Cam Thomas, Mikal Bridges, Ben Simmons, and Nick Claxton. Cleveland for the spread. If you're playing player props, I mean, call me crazy, call me what you want, but Ben Simmons over 12.5 rebounds and assists at -115. I mean, it's there for the taking. I mean, he's been the most consistent thing in this Nets offense. Call me crazy. I mean, he's gone over his 12.5 rebounds and assist line in each of the games that he's played this season. And with the injuries happening, I think Ben Simmons' usage ratings are only going to go but up. He should be in the starting lineup tonight. I talked about how he's been playing motivated because he wants to be in the starting lineup in the face of the franchise, and he's been playing like it, man. We've been arguing all this last couple of weeks about how much of a bust is Ben Simmons. I mean, the kid's been playing good basketball. You could say what you want about Ben Simmons, but I think Ben Simmons rebounds and assist prop tonight's good money. Ben Simmons triple-double for a sprinkle. But when I really get down to the nitty-bitty of this, I think I'm about to use Cleveland as a parlay piece tonight. I don't think the Nets are in the business of winning basketball games right now.
I hear you. I got to go over the rosters one more time, or at least refresh them because. But Simmons, I get Simmons. So that over 12.5 points, rebounds and assists is -115.
-115 on his rebounds and assists. Once this trade deadline closes at 3:00, we will officially pull off the trigger on some of these props. But you never know. You fucking look at your phone every 5 seconds. Somebody else is getting traded. But if there is 2 bets for me in this game, Cleveland -6. I think Cleveland's a good parlay piece tonight. And Ben Simmons 12.5 rebounds. If you're looking for some D-Gen action, I think Ben Simmons could triple-double tonight, man. He's been snapping in the rebounds and assist categories. You just got to score 10 points.
Well, let's roll on 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Dallas Mavericks 28-23, 14-10 on the road. The New York Knicks 33-18, 19-6 at home at Madison Square Garden in New York. Dallas 3-2 over their past 5, coming off their second straight win, 119-107 at Brooklyn on Tuesday. Knicks 110 of 11. Coming off an underwhelming 123-113 win at home over Memphis on Tuesday. This is game 5 of a 6-game homestand, and they made a lot of moves today. There was some talk that Brunson was not going to be in the lineup. I don't have that confirmed by anybody.
It's legit questionable, though.
Yeah, it's a game time decision, but I was surprised to hear someone in the chat said no Brunson. And for the Mavs, Luka and Kyrie, both game time decisions here.
Nah, they're going to be playing.
Another tricky situation. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Dallas right now at -3.5, at -106. They open at -4.5, so it's a 1-point move towards the Knicks. And then total wise, we have a 228. This opened up at 229.5. 1.5 move towards the under. And then when we get to the cash flow for this spot, 81% of the tickets and 80% of the cash on the Mavs. And this line has moved towards the Knicks. 59% of tickets, 50% cash on the over, and the line is moving towards the under. BJ says, one of my favorite spots tonight, not my best bet, though. Knicks stated Brunson avoided a serious ankle injury and will be out days, not weeks. Love Dallas tonight. Okay. Take it away for us here. I'm going to look a little deeper into the Brunson spot, but take it away here for us, Mavs, Knicks, Brizzy.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I actually bet the Knicks against the Mavericks when they played in Dallas, and man, I got fucking burnt on that spot. Knicks are like 4.5 point road favorites in that game. Luka was out of the game. Kyrie was kind of the man in the spot. But since then, the Knicks have been red hot, though. They've won 11 out of their last 12 games. They're catching points in this one. They're sitting 9th in 3-point shooting. The Mavericks have won back-to-back games, but the scare for me for Dallas is their fucking defense sucks. I mean, they're allowing 118 points per game. They're struggling in timely spots. So it's like if they have a lead going into the crunch time of the game, they'll be fine. But if they're having to get defensive stops, they're not winning those games. I think the easiest way to predict for this game is honestly the prop market. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo has been red hot. The kid's been putting up 25 points back to back. But I actually like Josh Hart, 13.5 rebounds and assists. That line's going to be around -125, -130 once that comes out. Since Randall's been out of the lineup, he's gone over his rebound and assist line 5 out of 5 games, averaging 17.3 rebounds and assists. He's been the main beneficiary of Anunoby and Randall injuries, especially if Brunson's not in there tonight. He's going to be asked to be more of a playmaker, and he's been rebounding the ball really well, playing the power forward position. This is a Josh Hart 13.5 rebounds and assist prop. When it comes to the sides, you can make a case for a home dog of the Knicks, but I mean, until they move that shit off of 13.5, I'm just going to keep on betting the Josh Hart rebounds and assists. I mean, the dude's going over every time. He's getting triple doubles. He's getting close to triple doubles, and they just haven't moved the line because he's not a popular name in this game. So I'm just going to go with the prop market in this one. Props are going to get you paid in this MSG game tonight.
And so I don't have, by the way, Brunson props are all out.
They don't have Knicks props up because of the Brunson injury news, but
Pinnacle is the most cautious book of all, and they've got Brunson props all out and available.
Well, when I was reading the injury report for this game, it sounded like Kyrie and Luka, even though they're questionable, they're going to play. And the ones that really are questionable is Maxi Kleber and Jalen Brunson. If Maxi Kleber doesn't play for the Mavericks tonight, who the fuck are they starting at center tonight? I mean, Dwight Powell? I mean, like, the Mavericks don't have any guys in the front court. Granted, you could say the Knicks don't have Brunson out there tonight, but they have a significant advantage in the front court, even without Julius Randle out there. And I think the Knicks match up well. I think the Knicks are going to be a live dog in this one. If you told me Brunson got ruled in a late questionable, I think this line goes down to a pick 'em.
Well, Luka and Kyrie are probable, says BJ, and he doesn't. He says Brunson not 100%, so it doesn't matter if he's in or not. And we will wait for the Hart props to come out, and then you'll tweet them out if you're going to use them.
1,000%.
And tag me, please. So we'll move on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Bulls 24-27, 9-15 on the road. Memphis Grizzlies 18-33, 5-18 at home. God, sorry, I'm doing a bad job at this. Let me grab that. There we go. Okay. The Bulls come out for a second win in 3 games, beat the Timberwolves 129-123 at home. I think it was an overtime. I didn't write it down, but on Tuesday night, 23rd fastest pace in the league over the last 5 games, 3-2, 98.06 possessions a game. Memphis playing slightly faster and losers of 6 straight, lost 123-113 at the Knicks on Tuesday. So let's take a look at the situation here for this one. And God, this is an ugly one. This is about as ugly as a basketball game gets. A Kobe White game time decision. I mean, if you ever move on the Bulls and he's not out there, you're going to lose. Memphis, look at this lineup Memphis putting out tonight. Gilliard, Williams, Conchar, Aldama, and maybe JJ. Maybe. I mean, it's just an absolute mess. Why wouldn't the Bulls be able to take the control here on this one? Let's take a look at the line history here for this spot. We have Chicago sitting right now at -6 and -106. Open at 5.5, a half-point move towards them, and then totals wise, we're sitting at a 216.5 here, 216.5. This opened at 214.5, so it has climbed. And then cash flow here, we have 62% of tickets and 66% of cash on the Bulls, 36% of tickets, 68% cash on the under. The Grizzlies have been doing more with less than anyone really expected, but the Bulls are this is a bum fight. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Bulls, Grizzlies.
Yeah, it finally feels like the books are pricing the Grizzlies game somewhat correctly. When you look at the roster, it has the components of a G League team, but they're not playing like it. They're 4-1 ATS in their last 5 at home. I mean, they're getting big-ass numbers at home or the road, and they're covering the home games. I talked about it in the chat. I think it was last week. Followed this dude on TikTok. He's a courtside member of the Memphis Grizzlies arena, and they be screaming on the sideline about the players covering the spread, and the players are playing into it, and they're covering the spreads at home since MLK Day. They've been 4-1 ATS last 5 at home. But when it comes to the numbers in this one, I kind of don't want to fade Chicago in this spot. If we're getting a little bit more points, like 9.5, 10, yeah, I'll be on Memphis here, but I mean, Chicago's been good in this road favorite spot. They're 5-2 ATS as road favorites. The Bulls won the first matchup versus the Grizzlies by 29 points. Memphis is on a 6-game losing streak. So, like, I would, if you gave me a free bet, I'm betting the Bulls or parlaying the Bulls. But willingly to go to the window and say, yeah, give me Chicago here. I just think there's other better games on the board today. I think the next game that we're going to talk about, hopefully it's the one that, there's no other game at 8:00. The next one at 8:00 is the one I really have a bet on.
Yeah, I can understand Troy wanting the Bulls here. It's just the Memphis have done more with less than anyone imagined. And, they just been undervalued a bit at home.
Like when you talk about tanking teams, there's the Charlotte Hornets tanking where people are being paid already. When you look at the Grizzlies, nobody's being paid yet. All these players are on damn near 10. Scottie Pippen Jr. couldn't even play last Friday, who was in the starting lineup for 2 games because he was on a 10-day contract and he had to go to the G League. Like these kids on the Grizzlies are playing for contracts. They're playing for their next spot. They're playing to get paid. And it's not a spot that I'm looking to bet against, to be honest with you.
No, I agree. I want the Bulls against a good basketball team as a dog. All right, we do have some big games coming up, and this is one of them. So let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves 35-16, 16-11 on the road. The Milwaukee Bucks 33-18, 21-5 at home with Pfizer in Milwaukee. Lamont Williams dropped into the chat and said this was his best bet. Minnesota money line. The Timberwolves coming in off their second loss in 3 games, losing at the Bulls 129-123 in overtime on Tuesday night. They're 3-2 over their past 5, and their pace has been slowing now, 96.98 possessions a game. Milwaukee 1-4, playing at the 8th fastest pace, 101 possessions a game. The Bucks coming off their second straight loss in 4th and 5 games, 114-106 at Phoenix on Tuesday night. This is game 1 of a back-to-back. So they host Charlotte tomorrow night. So the question is, who the hell is going to be in the lineup? Lillard game time decision. We heard Pat Bev was just traded. Who cares? Lopez game time decision. So Lillard and Antetokounmpo game time decisions. Lopez game time decision and Middleton out. And then for the Wolves, we thought they might be more involved in the trade deadline. Looks like they're not doing much at this point. Let's take a look at the line history for this spot. We have right now Minnesota at +1 at -105. I think that tells you everything you need to know. They open up at +1 and they're still at +1. So there's been no movement at all on the spread. And then from a total side of things, we are sitting here with a 227, and it opened up at 228. So we have a 1-point move to the under. And then when we get to the cash flow then for this spot, you have 38% of the tickets, 42% of the cash on the Bucks on the spread. On the money line, though, you have 69% of tickets and just 49% of the cash. So it feels like the sharps have come in and bet the Timberwolves the money line. 63% tickets, 60% cash on the under. Is Minnesota money line the move for us to make? Take it away for us here. Wolves, Bucks, Brizzy.
Yeah, first note, I will say these two teams do play each other twice over the next 2 weeks. But call me crazy, man. This is a buy low spot for Milwaukee at home where they've been playing a lot better basketball. They're second in the NBA in scoring at home at 125.9 points per game. Doc Rivers has been getting crucified in the media, 1-4 straight up since the switch over. But that's a combination of injuries, getting familiar with the team that's really has cost him. Chicago was able to match up with the Twin Towers down low, and with some of that formula, I think the Bucks can do the same exact thing. Brook Lopez, I know you said questionable, but I got him returning for tonight's game. He didn't even make the trip out the last time that they were on the road, so he's been in Milwaukee getting ready for this game. Minnesota is just a team that I think has fraud vibes, man. They struggled in closing out games when it counts, and they haven't produced. Minnesota's 28th in the NBA in fourth quarter offense. I don't think that they match up well with the Bucks here. I don't care if Lillard's playing or if he's in. As long as Giannis is out there, give me the Bucks here on the money line. Doc Rivers is getting crucified. Nobody wants to bet on Doc. Doc sucks. This, that, and the third. Bucks money line. Bucks smash spot here. Timberwolves, they're a good team, but They've been going through a rough patch. You could say the Timberwolves are in a bounce back spot, but I think the Bucks know what's on the line for this one. Giannis was talking about in the last press conference meeting, I think after the Suns game, he was talking about how it's just been a weird situation. Coach comes over, they don't have any practices under them. People are trying to play out of their way a little bit. I think Middleton sitting his ass on the bench is better for us here in this spot. I like Giannis, point Giannis here. If Lillard's in, I like it even more. But if we are without Lillard, then it's going to be point Giannis. I like the Bucks here. I don't care who's out there on the court tonight. Give me the Bucks.
Wow, interesting. I'm certainly leaning on the other side here. I mean, if we're talking about Giannis, Lopez, and Lillard, I mean, there's no way they all are in here because then they'll all sit against Charlotte. Maybe that's fine.
Charlotte fucking Hornets, Jim. That's the worst basketball team in the NBA right now. The fucking coach just said last week, we don't even have the right amount of guys to even deploy for a basketball game, more or less even win the game. I'm telling you right now, they could care two shits less that Charlotte's coming in to play tomorrow.
You still need to play players, and if you're 1-4 of your past 5, having a weak opponent gives you a chance to get a rhythm going. But it looks like a lot of you guys are on the Bucks today. Rob Free saying it's the best bet. Sean Pulliam on Milwaukee. So let's lock you in, though. Let's lock you in. I don't know if I move on the other side, but we'll lock Brizzy in here.
I mean, God bless you. You want to move on the other side. I don't blame you. It's a pick 'em for a reason. I mean, you could make cases for both scenarios, but this is just a gut check for me, man. I mean, 1-4 straight up since Doc's got the team. I mean, back against the wall. Bucks got to produce.
I mean, I don't. This is about figuring out a game plan to move forward. I mean, this is not a must-win situation in my mind, but maybe and Doc doesn't care what anybody's saying in the press. He's not going to get fired after 5 games. But I hear you. I'll hear you.
Just from a confidence spot, though, the dude got fired. Griffin got fired. They win the game after. They're fucking dancing on the middle of the court in a circle as a whole entire team, and they haven't won a game since. Like, it just seems like a spot. Like, how many? I just don't think I think it's a combination of the Bucks are being undervalued, and I don't think Minnesota's as good as their record shows. They're 28th in the NBA in fourth quarter offense. I mean, that's absurd to me. They keep on blowing these games late in games. If this game's somewhat competitive going into the fourth quarter, I want my money on the Bucks, man. Minnesota's not a team that can pull it out in the clutch right now. They just haven't shown it. They had a 12-point lead damn near against the Chicago Bulls and absolutely blew that game away. They might come into this game pissed off, but a pissed off Minnesota ain't a team. Rudy Gobert being pissed off, that's not something I'm scared of. I mean, he's not an offensive threat. Who's stopping Giannis out here? Who's guarding Giannis? I don't got anybody guarding Giannis. Let Karl-Anthony Towns stick in front of Giannis. Giannis is going for 40.
No, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. So Brizzy on the Bucks at -110. That's the best line we could find for the Bucks. Let's roll on. Next up for us, 9 p.m. action. The Utah Jazz, 26-26, 9-19 on the road at Phoenix Suns, 30-21, 15-11 at home at Footprint Center in Phoenix, Arizona. Utah 2-3 over their past 5, 21st fastest pace in the league, 98.3 possessions a game. Phoenix 4-1 over their past 5, 101.3 possessions a game. Utah comes in off their second straight win, 124-117 at home over the Thunder on Tuesday. Suns coming off their second straight win, 114-106 at home over Milwaukee. Take a look here. Total wise is sitting at 243. Opened up at 243.5. It's actually moved to 242.5 20 minutes ago. So 242.5 from a spread scenario here. Oh, sorry. Let me move over to the spread. Got the money line up. We have Phoenix at -6 at -109. Opened up -6.5. Got up to 7, but we're now at 6. It's slightly juiced to the Suns. So let's take a look at the cash flow with this half-point move towards the Jazz. Jazz have 40% of the tickets and 53% of the cash on them. 63% of tickets and 57% cash is on this over. And when we take a look at the expected situation here for the Suns, Beal, Booker are both game time decisions here. And Utah did make some trades, but Dunn, Sexton, Markkanen, Collins ready to go. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Jazz, Suns.
This is one spot last night that I thought I was going to be on Phoenix. It seems like a Phoenix spot. Utah Jazz are like one of the worst road defenses in the NBA, but this injury news report that we just got over the last 30 minutes, man, that shit, this is the NBA by its finest. Bradley Beal and Devin Booker are both questionable for this game. I can't confidently say that they're going to play. And if they don't play, then this line is wrong. This line should be 3.5, 4 if it's just KD, Eric Gordon, and Grayson Allen out there. But vice versa for the Jazz. They're not going to talk about this on the mainstream media, but we'll talk about it here with Betting with the Bag. They traded Simon Fontecchio, and he was a hooper for the Jazz, man. He was Italy's leading scorer in their last little thing that they had over the summer. He was a great key for that offense. And Obaji also got traded. He was probably their best defensive defender that came off the bench, former Kansas All-American. Now you replace both of those guys with fucking Kevin Knox, who's been on his 8th team probably in like the last 2 years. Like, I don't know, man. The Jazz kind of got worse from the trade deadline, I feel like, in my opinion. I want to bet the Jazz here in this spot and take the points, but maybe the Jazz just get blown out here in this spot. Their defense isn't good. If anything, I lean towards the over in this game, but you can't bet this game without having Bradley Beals and Devin Booker news, and they're legit questionables. If you told me that after the shoot-around today, who got ruled in as questionable? I think after the shoot-around, it was Bradley Beal, or not Bradley Beal. It was Devin Booker, who's now listed as questionable with a hip injury after shoot-around. Bradley Beal was listed questionable last night for this game. If you told me both of those two sat, man, I wouldn't be shocked. And then at that point, it's a pass. Utah or pass for me. But if you like the Suns, wait around a little bit. You might get better injury. You might get a better number with the injury news around this. Was it 5:30? This is a West Coast game, so 8 o'clock injury report for the West Coast. You might probably get a better line here.
A lot of moving parts on today's card. Let's move on to the game of the night. Kobe Bryant night, statue for Kobe coming out here. And it means there's a lot on the line. A lot on the line here, and that both teams should give out effort. Of course, the Brow and LeBron are game time decisions. And we have not seen the D'Angelo Russell move yet. BJ's best bet, Lakers plus 3.5. They're going to be wearing the Black Mamba jerseys. And, I mean, God. I mean, this feels like I hate saying it, but like a LeBron triple-double night. Nuggets 35-16, just 14-12 on the road. Lakers 27-25, 17-8 at home. Denver 4-1 over their past 5, coming off their second straight win, 112-103 at home over the Blazers on Sunday. Played the Blazers back-to-back games. Lakers 3-2 over their past 5, playing second fastest pace in the NBA, 103.30 possessions a game. They finished up their 6-game road trip with 3 straight wins. They finished it up on Monday, winning at Charlotte 124-118 on Monday. So we talked off the top about the difference between the situation that the Kings were in last night and the Clippers were in last night. They only had the 1 day off, so they traveled on that day off, and then they play the next night. The only thing for the Lakers is they have they had Tuesday and Wednesday off, and it's Mamba night. Take a look at the line history here for this one. Lakers sitting at plus 3.5, minus 109, a 4-cent move towards them. From a total side of things here, we have it sitting at 230. Sitting at 230. This opened up at 231. It dropped to 229.5, but sitting right now at 230. Then from a cash flow standpoint, Make America Great Again, saying that the whole world going to be on the Lakers. Right now, it's 64% of tickets, 64% of the cash. 37% of tickets and 67% of cash is on the under. Interesting spot. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Nuggets at Lakers.
Yeah, I have the spot circled. My brother's birthday falls on the same day as Kobe Bryant Day, so I was pretty aware about this spot. The Lakers are going to have the statue unveiling today. They're going to be wearing the Mamba jerseys in the game. And regardless of all that, give me the Lakers here in this spot, plus the 4 and the money line. Split up a unit in half with the plus 4 and the money line here. The Nuggets, I swear to God, if you replace the Nuggets team and you just looked at their road stats, bro, they're not that good of a team on the road. They're one of the worst road ATS records in the NBA. 9-16-1 ATS on the road this season. 6-13-1 ATS as road favorites this season. And the Lakers, say what you want about them, they might not win the fucking championship, but I'm not asking them to win the fucking championship. I'm asking them to win on February 8th on fucking Mamba Day. They've been playing well recently, 8-4 straight up in their last 12 games, 5-2 ATS last 7 at home. The Nuggets absolutely smacked them in the playoffs last year, smacked them on opening night of this year. I mean, the Lakers, this tells you this is a Lakers spot. This is a Lakers game. Bet it on the money line. If you're scared, go to church, as my man Wham would say.
+4 at -111 at Heritage. I mean, it's a surprise that there would be a half-point move towards the Nuggets here.
I mean, anybody that sees, if you don't know the NBA in and outs of like the different spots and stuff like that, and you just looked at the board today, you would be like, the Nuggets 3.5. Bet. Like,
they're 14-12 on the road. I mean,
the Nuggets are trash on the road. 9-16-1 ATS on the road this season. 6-13-1 ATS as road favorites. Like, they're not that good on the road this year.
+140. Was that 144? The legit book it was. +144. +144 on the money line. Crystal Craig says Nuggets this year, like Golden State was last year. You bet them at home and fade them on the road. Cody, I'll give you that here. We're just about to clean everything up for the show. So let me just see what the market move at Bookmaker has been on this. They opened this up with the Lakers at +140. The first move was towards the Nuggets. I mean, God. Okay. Low-hanging fruit says not flush Allen on the Lakers as the team total over. And BJ says join the team. Join the team and move on the Lakers with you guys. I may, but I'm not going to after the show. I'm going to sit with this. There's so many moving parts with this card. I got to sit with it for a while. The final game on the board here, the final game on our show next up here is the Detroit Pistons 6-43, 2-20 on the road. The Portland Trailblazers 15-35, 9-13 home at Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Detroit and Portland both 2-3 over the past 5. Both teams are playing better, but the rest situation is wild. Pistons on the second half back-to-back after winning in Sacramento last night, 133-120. The Blazers coming off their second straight loss. Now they were both in Denver against good competition, and that was on Sunday night. So a team with a ton of rest against a team with no rest. We see this quite often in NBA. This total sitting at 226.5. It opened up at 228.5. So we have a 2-point move towards the under. And then from a point spread perspective, we have Portland now at -6.5. Bet Chris hanging this at a 6. This opened at 6, and the first move was absolutely appalling. It moved towards the Pistons. Now it's come back towards the Blazers, but that was a very strange move here. Let's take a look at the cash flow then for our last game on the board. You have 86% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the Trailblazers. I understand that this is a great spot for the Blazers, but how do you move on them with that information? 46% of tickets, 58% cash on the over. Andrew G's right. I want late night action, but I'm certainly not going to force it as best I can. This is an important night for me. As you guys know, Thursdays are very important as it's in out every Friday with my local. So both teams playing a slow pace. Portland playing now the second slowest pace, in the NBA, 94.1 possessions a game. Take it away for us here, Brizzy. Pistons, Blazers.
Call me crazy, man. Pistons have been playing a lot better basketball. Shouts to Mike M. We were talking about this last night on All About the Hoops, and Mikey was saying, yeah, I'm pulling the trigger on the Pistons, and I was like, bro, I don't blame you, man. The Pistons have been playing a lot better. They're 8-2 ATS last 10 games. To be honest with you, I know you're not a prop guy, but this is a prop game here. Ajar Thompson over 17.5 points and rebounds. He's been smashing his points and rebound line. Last night, he damn near covered it. He had 15 in the first half, and he went out of the first half with the ankle injury, came back in the game, and still kept on hooping. That's the way I'm going to go for this one. Ajar Thompson, points and rebounds here. I think he's live for the double-double His rebound prop last night was 6.5, juiced at -150. I think you take the points and the rebounds. They need more scoring in that offense. The Detroit Pistons aren't going to have a lot of bodies for this game, so all the young guys are going to be out there still playing. Killian Hayes literally just got released from the Detroit Pistons. If Cade Cunningham doesn't play tonight, they might only have 8 or 9 active bodies. I think that bodes well even more for Azor Thompson. Anytime you see Dalino Gallinari in the lineup, it makes you do one of these, Jim. Is this the right fucking year we're in? How the fuck is Gallinari in the starting lineup of an NBA team? I think that tells you all you need to know. That's the reason why people have been betting the Blazers. But if you're a prop guy, don't let this one go by the wayside. We're arguing about which one's a bump fight. This is a bump fight I want my money on. There's money to be made in this game tonight.
And Cunningham's not going to play in a back-to-back. So.
He didn't play last night.
Oh, he didn't play last night. Oh, shit. Okay, so then he will. Okay, sorry, my bad.
He could play tonight.
Yeah, he could play.
Is he really hurt, or did they just send him out in the front end?
No, they just don't want him in back-to-backs. That's all. But I'm waiting for them to rest him for the rest of the year, but that hasn't happened yet. 101 Benny says no Bogdanovich. Pistons Dunzo.
Bogdanovich can't fucking stick anybody to save his fucking life, man. He can shoot the ball, but his defense, man, they're putting him on the best wing defender on the other team, and he was getting fried every game. I think the Pistons are better with the young guys out there. I mean, Azor Thompson was one of OTE's top players last year. That's what got him drafted up there. He's been playing really good basketball, damn near doubling every time he's out there in the starting lineup. So, this isn't a 1-800-GAMBLER, Nut Flush. This is money to be made on this game, man. I think if you want to plug your nose and take the Pistons plus the points, go ahead. But there's a lot of props in this game to make money on, I feel like.
I love it, man. What was the juice on the Thompson over 17.5 points and rebounds?
-115.
-115 there. All right, let's review all action. I got to sit with this NBA card for a while here. Sammy Comer gave us the T-Wolves first quarter and the Lakers +3.5. Those make sense. Magic team total over I have with question marks. I have the Pacers, unfortunately, -6.
Foster's reffing that Magic game, by the way. If that wants to, I don't know, but side he's on, you don't know. Scotty Boy starts blowing that fucking whistle. You don't know where it's gonna go.
Simmons over 12.5 rebounds and assists for -115 for Brizzy. He also looking at the heart props when they come out. So if he moves on them, tag me. He's on the Bucks -110. I still am staring at the Wolves. I guess I'm gonna need more time here. Troy Torrance says I wanted the Blazers so bad. Unfortunately, I would be forced to bet the Pistons. Yeah, I get it. I can't. 90% of the money on
they're playing
Blazers,
their best basketball. They're 8-2 ATS over the last 10. I mean, like the Pistons have been. If you've been betting the Pistons on the spread, you've been making money in the last 2 weeks.
Lakers +4 and +144 on the money line for Brizzy. Then Azor Thompson over 17.5 points and rebounds at -115. So things will get easier tomorrow. Trade deadline gone and done. Brizzy, thank you so much for rolling with us. I know we have a big UFC card. It's what, UFC Vegas, right? Yeah, 89.
UFC Vegas 86. Make sure you guys check out the Spotify podcast. Just dropped me, Millie Mills, big show right prior to the show. We had a nice little conversation around the round table, seeing who's going to get us paid for this weekend. And Joey Body Bags Piper in the main event. South Jersey Stand Up. South Jersey's finest is in the main event. Dana White ain't paying for his housing this year, so he gave him a main event slot, and I think he's going to take advantage of it.
I love it, Brizzy. Thank you so much for making time for us. Are you going to a Super Bowl party, or can you rock with us on the live stream?
I'll try to rock with you guys on the live stream. This weekend is to be determined, though. A lot of weird shit going on this weekend.
Stay in touch with me about that because I'm putting together the roster for Super Bowl Super Sunday live stream. Thank you for rocking with us, Brizzy. Please support Brizzy on Instagram. There is his handle right there. And, of course, on X at getting_bills_. Brizzy, thank you for making time for us, my man. Get that cash. And if you move on those heart props, please tag me so I can keep them with your records.
Yeah, I'm going to tweet out the card, like, everything around, like, 5:30 when we get the East Coast injury news report because some of these games, man, you can't even bet without the injury report. Like the Suns game, I don't know how you're placing a wager on that game without the injury report for either team.
No, I feel you. I feel you. Respect, Brizzy, my guy. There he is, Billy Brisbane in the house. All right, let's review all action. Razor gave us his horse play of the day. Fairgrounds Race 79, Air Force Cruising. Going to copy and paste that right here. We go. That is in the chat. Viper gave us Marketing over 24.5 points. Kaminga over 29 points. Vegas -1 at +123. Billy Friedrich, Avs +112. Tampa Bay +124. Jets -1 and Canucks +110. Slatsy gave us the Wild. Oh, no. Slatsy gave us Panthers team total over 3.5. Panthers -1.5. Jets Flyers under 5.5. I have different action than everybody. We'll see how that bangs out. I'm on the Bruins -1 at +124, fading my Canucks. I'm on the Devils -1 at +113. I'm on the Panthers -1.5 at +105. And then I moved on the under 6.5 in the Hurricanes Avalanche game at -112. That is my action. Our guy, Mr. Gogster. And if you're looking for, I guess my best bet, at a regular VIG is probably the under 6.5 in Carolina, Colorado. Probably. I'd say so. But if you're looking for the spot that makes that you can trust the most, it comes with huge juice. So it'd have to be a parlay piece, and that's Florida Panthers coming off the loss to Philadelphia against the Capitals that are such trash. So that would be it. And then in college basketball, we have, and I'm going to have to run and pick up Ella right now. So I'm not going to be able to bet these until for about 35 minutes. But Temple +7 from Mikey Money. I want to be involved in that. He's doubled up on Towson first half and full game. He's on Niagara +2.5. He's on UNC Greensboro. I'm very interested in that. But if Pinnacle is giving us the best line in UNC Greensboro, when I come back, I probably won't move on it. But I do like it. And then I'd have to go up against Jay Smooth Balls play today. Penn State first half and full game for Mikey Money. He's also on the under 156.5 in North Carolina A&T and Charleston Cougars. He's on the Utes +5.5. I'd like to join him. Justin McKelvey also on the Utes stacks play of the day. He's on the Colorado double up. I'd like to be involved in that too. And Utah Valley. That makes sense to me. He's also on Abilene Christian +10.5. Daby Cab gave us Arizona first half -2.5. And he's tied Arizona first half money line with Memphis first half money line. That's at +128. And we just went over NBA. That is our show for today. The spreadsheet plays of the day. I thought I had them right here. Sorry. The spreadsheet plays of the day. What the hell did I do with them? Let me go up to the very top here. Spreadsheet plays of the day. In basketball, the Bucks. In NHL, the Jets. And in college basketball, it is the Utah Utes. Thank you guys so much. Thank you for being here. Cody Norton says, last night cashed the 5-team parlay 30 and it made into 1750. Nice work, Cody. Yeah, that's the perfect parlay piece is the Florida Panthers. Happy birthday to our Von Polo. Love you, Von Polo. Get that cash, man. All love to you, Von Polo. What a great guy. Coming to us from Charm City. We're going to make an Atlantic City trip that you can rock with us because, we love you, man. That is our show for today. Von Polo, Cody Norton, Justin McKelvey, Rob Free, Tori Coker, Troy Torrance. What a group, man. Nut Flush Allen, Kelly McInnes, Make America Great Again, 101 Benny, DC Capper, North Ender, Mikey Money, Andrew G, Slow Jams Arsenal, Stimmy OG, Demetrius Alexander. Thank you guys for rocking with us. Go out there and get that cash. And it's an important day, man. These days, these roller coaster rides are extremely important. We must succeed. We must succeed. On behalf of all of us at Pub Sports Radio, thank you so much for your support. Go out there, get the money, man. Go out there and get that fucking cash.
Pub Sports Radio's the crew, that's a fact. We all about bread, making bank accounts fat. Who the hell is that? LJ from the H, I stack green like Boston. Shout out to Nasty Nate from down south, where we ride on slabs. 420 highway smoking with that boy Daby Cab. Swing by Dallas with them Cowboy fans so we can smoke out J Money, cause you know that's our mans. Us against the bookies, put money in our pockets. Fly out to Vegas, meet up with Ski Profit. Hit the sports books, we got money to stack. Can't forget them college picks with that boy Conor Mack.